Hi, this is Dale Lear, designer of TRS 80 Color Baseball, and you're listening to CoCoTALK.
This is CoCoTALK, the world's leading live talk show featuring the Tandy Color computer. It's time to drop your socks, grab your real-time clocks, and let's rock.
CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world, keeping the Tandy flame alive. We may be mocked, but we'll never stop, cause CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world.
Welcome to CoCoTALK, episode 273. We're talking about the Coco. The cat hasn't barked yet, so we're doing good.
CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world, keeping the Tandy flame alive. We may be mocked, but we'll never stop, cause CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world.
Oh, hello, everybody. You know, it's probably better if the mic is real low.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Ears.
But apologies for everybody else for being softy. He said we're talking about the Coco today, in case anybody didn't guess.
Well, that's a different mic. I guess we didn't do a sound check at the beginning. Let's see. Who we got on the panel today?
Well, you're up in the upper left corner, so continue on.
Yeah, that's right. Upper left. There's me. There's the cat. Center
My cat
top.
just left. I was feeding my cat bacon. Anyway, she'll be back.
Oh boy. Anyway, top center. We got Mark Overhoser.
Apple guy, glad to be here.
Yeah. All right. Next to the top right-hand corner, Patrick Euland.
Got no stinking cat, but howdy, folks.
All right. Let's see. Middle right. Middle left. How about that? Middle left. Ron Delvo.
Hello, everybody. Welcome.
Okay. Center square. L. Curtis Boyle.
There's like a free bingo card or something. Welcome, everyone.
Yeah.
And let's see. You know what? For this, we need the theme of Jeopardy or something like that. Or whatever that show was that had the 9 squares. Brady Bunch? Let's see. Center
Hollywood
right.
Squares.
That's it. Hollywood Squares.
I like Brady Bunch better because that makes Curtis Alice.
Oh, and that was Ken Waters.
All righty.
That's me.
With the slam.
The lamb.
All right. Next over, Grant Leedy.
Everybody.
And let's see, bottom center. Are you ready, David Ladd?
Why, yes, I am. Are all of you ready for today's show? I'm sure you'll be excited to know what's coming up. Let's wait and see.
Okay, next over, James Diffendaffer. And what is that
Oh,
schematic
hello,
you
everyone.
got there?
That is the MC10. Since I've been doing so much MC10 stuff, people complained about the bug, which was a fractal, and they complained about something else I did. So I finally just, I'll put this up, and I don't know.
Well, now we can all build our own MC10s.
If Pedro hasn't done that already.
Okay.
I don't know why you'd want to do that.
What you need to
It's
do
a
is
fine
design a
machine.
6303 version of the MC10. That's what you need.
I would do so much different if I built my own.
Yeah. Particularly with video RAM. But anyway.
That's the number one right there.
And you guys forgot to tell me to make some co-hosts.
Don't forget to make co-hosts.
Yeah, you're recording the
So-
show too, right? Because I know we had a bit of a technical issue during the week here, so I don't know if all the default settings stayed through or not.
Yeah, the local recording's going on. So
Okay, cool.
yeah, it was just all the paths for Google what got foobarred, and it took a bit to straighten out. I think everything's back where it's supposed to be. So, yay, Google Drive. So let's see here. Next up,
Some announcements, I do believe.
yeah, some announcements. Grants.
Grant first, then me.
All right, cool.
Let
So
me-
I just want to
let me
make
enlarge
a
it here.
don't do that.
Ah! No, I'm just kidding.
So no, I'll be quick here. I just want to let everybody know that the board of directors had a meeting Thursday. We have finally secured a new venue for Coco Fest for next year. It will be held at the Holiday Inn in Carroll Stream. It will be also on the dates that we talked about during Coco Fest. It's April 21st, 22nd, 23rd of 2023. So I think everybody will be happy with this location. It's a newly renovated, a little bit smaller than Oak Grove, but not by much.
But bigger than Heron Point, right?
Oh yeah, definitely so. Yeah, definitely so. It's not a problem there, and so I think everybody will be very happy with it. So it is going to cost us a little bit more money. So unfortunately, we'll probably have to raise the table rates, but a little bit. But they're fairly cheap as it was, and but as soon as we get everything else all lined up on the meals and the actual cost and everything like that, I'll make the announcement here. I think that's going to happen in a couple weeks at the next meeting. We'll probably get that all ironed out, and I'll let everybody know.
Now, the
So-
big thing that's going to affect most of us sane people that normally attend the fest is what's happening with the coffee. This is where we have to go get it next door, right?
So yeah, I haven't talked to Jim about this yet, but I do know we probably will put a cap on it unless you want to pay $38 a gallon. So for the coffee, but yes, there are 2 gas stations on the corner, so there's and a Dunkin' Donuts and a Starbucks too in the area. So
And I think you guys have mentioned before there's actually coffee in the lobby that's free too. So
exactly, yep, until 10 o'clock, and then they take it down at 10 o'clock. So
And Ken is now making the sign of the cross as he hears Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks.
So one other thing too, I guess I'll say is that we're going to have to come up with some new revenue models for the fest, because as costs are going up, and I do not believe that the auction items are going to be in plentiful supply like it has been in the years past, because people are not throwing away the Coco 2s and the Coco 3s out or donating them anymore, because you can sell them on eBay for a couple $100 and so forth. So we're probably going to start doing something like sponsorships. So like kind of like VCF Midwest does and Tandy Assembly does, where you'll sponsor us for $50 or $100 and you can put your company up and stuff like that. So we're still working out the details on that, but I think we're going to we'll probably end up doing T-shirts as well. And so the reason I want to make that announcement is if we have any
As a
artists,
fundraiser.
yeah, exactly. If we have any artists who are good at making T-shirts, please get in contact with me, and then we'll see if we can get the design figured out and get the T-shirts printed and so forth like that. So, but we'll probably be working on some other, profit centers as well too, to help raise money. So more to come on that in the future.
we have a question in the chat here for you on that from Buck Owens. He says, king bed rooms, 2-person are $135 a night right now. Are you getting a special group rate?
Yes, the group rate will be $119 a night. And actually, $135 was cheap, because I was there 2 weeks ago. It was $185 a night. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah. So, yeah,
I was thinking I might have to bring a tent.
And I'll be
Wow.
honest with you too. I went through several different hotels. The $99 a night hotel rooms, they're non-existent. Not even at the Holiday Inn Express or a Comfort Inn. They are hard to come by.
Not a Motel 6?
Well, if you want to go down that low, go right ahead. But,
Red Roof Inn and Motel 6. There we go. Yeah.
but $119 is not a bad.
No,
not
that's
a bad
not bad
buy,
at all.
actually, with these inflation prices. And I actually believe that after this year, after everybody's done traveling so much, I'm hoping those prices will go back down to, more reasonable, like $99 a night. But yeah, room rates will be $119. And I believe, then don't quote me on this, but I think they'll be for Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, and Monday night. If you may remember at the Elk Grove, you came in early, you had to pay full price, or if you stayed over to, Sunday night, you had to pay full price. So we got that corrected this time. So it'll be $119 a night for all 5 nights or 4 nights.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that'll help because some people will like to make a bit of vacation around it. Other people just like the extra time to get a good sleep and
exactly.
So that's a good idea.
Unfortunately, I have to room with Stevie, so I don't get good sleep. So.
All right, cool.
Cool. Okay. I've got some announcements too. I don't know if anybody else does, but
tell you what, before you jump into that one in the chat, Eddie Zerbinski has made an announcement that he is now officially in remission from cancer.
Oh, cool.
Oh, good.
He is leaving for a kayak ride to celebrate it.
Cool. Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations. That's
Awesome
actually
news.
That's the second person that seems to be doing very well with cancer treatments, and there's another one in the news items coming up that I'll mention too. So, congratulations, Eddie.
Okay, yeah, you put that in the chat, so I would put that out.
Good news.
All right, Chris,
hey,
what'd you have?
My announcements. Okay, I know Grant and others have been complaining there's been no interviews lately, and that's mainly because it's been summer.
Yeah, that's because you've been slacking.
A lot of people just aren't around, so. But,
well, they just don't want to talk to you.
Well, that too. Anyway, we actually do have some announcements on those, and there's actually a bunch I can't quite announce yet because we're still ironing out details of the official date the interview will be, etc. There's 1 or 2 that might be multiple people on at the same time, so we're trying to make sure everybody's schedule works, etc. But there's a few that we can talk about right now. So the first one I want to announce is actually one that's going to be a bit different. It's not going to be a live show. It's an interview with Michael Duncan, who created Xeneon that we played a couple weeks ago in Australia. So he's in a different time zone than Nick. So Nick and I, and maybe a couple other people, we're still ironing out the exact times, are going to do a pre-record interview with him next weekend or the weekend after. I can't remember. But basically, we'll be broadcasting the recording of it on the 27th of August, recording the week before. So by August 19th, if any of you guys have any questions that you want us to ask on your behalf of Michael, please send them either to the email or just on the Discord. I'm not sure exactly what the appropriate channel would be for that, but if you have any questions for him, send them up. And it could be questions about him and his Coco experience in general. It could be about Xeneon in particular. So please do that. The deadline for any questions, though, because he wants to kind of vet the questions ahead of time before he, answers them when we do our pre-recording. We want those in by Friday, August the 19th. So you can email those to the CoCoTALK email or on the Discord. So that's number 1. So that'll be broadcast on the 27th. We've got a trailer that I believe Mark has a teaser for the interview that's happening next week with Glenn Dahlgren, who's coming out with his 3rd book, I believe. And, some general Coco reminiscence and stuff as well. So, Mark, if you want to play that, we'll let that go. So that's for next week's interview.
Hi, my name is Glenn Dahlgren. I am a color computer designer from way back in the day. You may know me from my Sundog Systems games. I'm also an author of YA fantasy and award-winning YA fantasy. These are a couple of my books, and you'll notice that each one has an award at the bottom. I just won this one. I won a little bit further back, but this one I just won a couple of weeks ago, which is pretty cool. That's the Dante Rossetti Award. So I would love to talk about some of the my books and my upcoming book, which is going to be launching this month, at the end of the month, called House of Prophecy. Not only that, during my time, I'm going to be potentially giving away some classic Coco games, so you have to be there. And these are original, new old stock. And I'll sign them if you want to, but you'll have a chance to win one of these games. So please come and talk with me on CoCoTALK live August 13th at 1 p.m. Eastern. I'll see you there.
So that's cool that we're actually getting some giveaways from Glenn that are Coco related as well. I mean, he's sometimes giving away some stuff for the books and stuff too, and he's been doing really well with his book series.
His books are good. I've got the first 2.
Yeah, I mean, when Piers Anthony reviews your book and said this is the way young adult fantasy fiction should be, that's pretty darn high praise. So Yeah, congratulations to Glenn on getting his third book out. He's working on the audiobook version of it as well. And of course, some general Coco stuff. I finally found, like he'd referenced in one of the previous interviews, that his very first public mentioned Coco game was actually a winner, one of the winners in the Color Computer Magazine game programming contest from 1983. It got announced in the February 1984 issue. And I finally dug out the original article of that, so I'll show that. It's actually got the title of the game and all the other ones that also won, the various different categories as well there. So there'll be some new Coco material on there on that interview as well. So look forward to that next week. The week after that, August the 20th, we're going to have 3/4 of the original Nitrous 9 development team. That will be Bill Noble, Alan DeCock, and myself. I'm still trying to get a hold of Wes Gale, though he hasn't responded yet, so I don't know if he's just too busy or just not interested in at this point in time. But it's a 30th anniversary of Nitrous 9 getting released from 1992, and August is actually the 30th anniversary of when Bill Noble first got the kernel booting up in native mode. And this is actually, I was watching him do this because he was doing this at work as well as at home, and we had the same job. We just had opposite shifts. And I really didn't think he was going to be able to do it. So I just kind of watched and sniggered a bit. And then he proved me completely wrong, egg in my face type thing. And then I joined in wholeheartedly after that. And then Wes Gale joined in as well. He wrote the installer. He did the manuals. He advertised in Rainbow. He, did all the initial sales, etc. Alan joined a year or two later and kind of brought some fresh perspective on stuff and, really went nuts on the graphics drivers and stuff. So we're going to have a general reminiscence about, what it was like when it was still a commercial product, how that those first 10 years went before we released it to the public. And any questions you guys have on the original development or, what inspired us to do certain things and whatever you want to ask. We're going to have all three of us on. And like I said, I'll keep trying to approach Wes, and I don't know if we can actually get him, but it'd be awesome to have all four of the originals on, but at least three of them will be on too. So that's on for the week after. So that'll be August the 20th. So get your questions ready for that one. And then I've got a few that I can't talk about yet because, like I said, I'm still ironing out some details. There is one that is confirmed, though. September 17th, we'll be interviewing Franklin Harris of RetroRewind.ca. Now, we've interviewed him before, but he was a little bit coy on some of his background. Like, he did mention that his very first computer he ever owned was a Coco 2, and he now does, Coco repairs and upgrades and stuff. He's also manufactures the Coco SDC, is one of the two official manufacturers of that. And he's got, cap replacement kits if you need that. He also does, he has a diagnostic cartridge and some other stuff too. But we're going to be going into some of the history he kind of skipped over. Now, I kind of asked him about this because actually when I went with him down to Boatfest, because we all drove together there from Toronto, he had mentioned that, he had been on the lab with Leo Laporte and he'd been doing some TV stuff. He'd worked with people like Amber MacArthur. If you're in Canada, you watch Net at Night and stuff like that. She was a pretty popular net host. She's still on CTV to this day. He also worked with people like Kevin Rose, behind Dig, etc. So there's a bunch of famous people he's been involved with in the early 2000s. He had his own tech podcast in the early 2000s as well. And we were asking him in the car, like, why didn't you mention any of this stuff? And he said he wanted to promote Retro Rewind on its own merits. He did not want any of his, previous quote unquote fame, clouding people's judgment of the company. He wanted the company to be able to stand on its own. But now that he's kind of let the cat out of the bag, and we've talked about it at Boatfest and a few other places now too, we're going to do a full interview and going through his entire background in the industry, which includes a lot of TV stuff and production stuff and hardware hacking and all kinds of things. So it's going to be a pretty fascinating interview. There's going to be a lot of new stuff you haven't heard from him before. So that'll be on September the 17th. Now, in between the 17th and the 27th, when Michael Duncan's interview happens, there is stuff happening. I'm just getting the firm details, and there's some stuff happening after that, still getting the same firm details. There's a few where people are trying to decide which date's going to work best for them. There's others where they're trying to get some other people to come in for a group interview and want to make sure everybody can make it. So hopefully I'll have announcements on those officially within the next week or two, and we'll keep going. But yeah, there's I think a total of 6 or 7 blocks of interviews that are either officially scheduled or tentatively scheduled at this point. So keep an ear out for those. That's the end of my announcements.
Cool. Switching views here. All right. Well, what's up next?
Game on challenge results, I guess, or?
Yeah, we can do that.
Sure.
All right. Where's my buttons? Here we go.
Welcome everybody to the results video for the CoCoTALK Game On Challenge of the Week, where we played Planet Raider. We had a total of 13 players. We had Mr. Dave 6309 with 5750, Ed Rhodes with 10,500, Mark B with 19,150, Tasman with 29,000, David Craker 37,150, Rick U 40,000, Sabhead 64,850, Jim Rye 70,800, Shenley 81,050, David Z 119,000, Sloopy Malibu 120,950, Buck Owens 283,500. And the number one score this week is Canadian Retro Things with 484,600. Thanks everybody that played this week, and we will see you next week.
Well, that was convenient.
I guess you wanted to make sure you beat Sloopy this time.
That was the best photoshopping I've ever done. So I did see, and also I did have a few problems with this game. For some reason, this game did not seem to work properly on a 6309 computer.
Well, some people were reporting problems with 6809s too, so I'm not sure what the deal is. So,
well, because I was running it on my 6309, and it would freeze up at the end of the first level. Then I tried it in VCC on 6309. Same copy of the program, freezes up at the end of the first level. But then when I switched it over to 6809, it worked fine. So
yeah, because I was just following. I didn't get a chance to play because I'm really busy with work. But I was following all the comments in the Game On Challenge channel on Discord, and I think was it David Craker was having problems on the 6809 on his actual Coco 2.
Oh, was it 6809? Oh, okay, I didn't see that one.
So it seems, I'm not sure exactly what the problem is, or maybe there's slightly different copies floating around. Like somebody was using an older copy that was on the archive earlier from a ultimate download or something. I have no idea.
Well, like I said,
Just I grabbed the one from the archive Thursday, and it didn't run on a real Coco 6309 at all. It reliably died at that one spot at the end of the, Planet Conquered. But it's no other problem. It ran and restarted, and I could, other than that one point, it was fine.
Yeah, I had the same problem. It would get to that, and it would show the planet saved, but then it wouldn't count up how many guys you saved. It would freeze up before doing that, and then you couldn't continue.
Well, I never got that high to see that problem, but I was seeing occasionally issues when it would start. It's like you'd go to the screen to start, but it would just sit there for a little bit, and then all of a sudden.
I noticed that, on VCC, when you started it up, it took a long time to get the program to start running. It would just kind of freeze up at the beginning, but then when it started running, it worked fine.
Yeah.
The metagame was the real fun, figuring out all the different ways you could mess with it. Like getting the creatures to spawn underground and things like that. If you flip left to right as a creature spawning, it will end up underneath the ground. And then you have to go underground to find it, which is cool.
So you could fly underground, but you couldn't shoot through it.
Yeah, right. You could shoot underground, but the bullets wouldn't go outside of the to the upper part, to the sky. And if you shot in the sky, bullets wouldn't go underground.
Because I wonder if that was its attempt at doing 3D. So instead of being under the ground, you were flying around the mountain.
No.
Because if you play it on Impossible, you can't even touch the ground. You can't go underground. You can't touch the ground. So I think you'd be screwed if one of the little guys floated down to below the ground level, because then you couldn't get them.
Ooh, yeah.
So I have a question. If I know you guys were playing the hard, like the medium level of difficulty, correct?
Yeah.
If you change the level of difficulty, did the problems go away or get worse or better or anything, or did anybody try that?
Didn't try that.
Okay.
Just for a while, we just all thought the author's name was hard.
Yeah, Dave Hudson hard.
Yeah, because I'm just surprised that a game would have been released in that state with all of those bugs.
Well, I'll get to that.
or if it was a bit like a bad, somebody tried to take some copy protection off and screwed up, which has happened before. So,
but I can attest to the fact that when you get to the higher levels, it gets quite a bit harder. Like people were complaining that the game was a little too easy, but once I was up in that mid 400,000 range, there were so many bullets flying at you, and the bad guys came at you so fast you almost didn't have time to react. So it definitely got harder. Unlike some games where it just seems to be reach a plateau and not get any harder. Yeah. This one sped up quite a bit.
Now, at first glance, looking at the screens for this, of course, and one of you can play a video of the Game On Live stuff if you want to kind of show it. But it looks like Defender at first glance, but there are some pretty major differences in how it plays. If you want to explain those.
Yeah. So different from Defender is that you actually have to go down and pick up each of the people. You can't finish the level until you've either shot and killed or picked up all of the people.
Yeah, so unlike Defender, where the aliens pick them up, you shoot the alien and then try to swipe and get the guy out of the air. You actually pick them up off the ground in this game.
Yeah, you pick them up off the ground. So there's 20 men per level, and you have to try to save as many of them as you can without killing them. Once that's over, you fly up through the top of the screen, and the level's over, and hopefully you move on to another level.
or the game freezes dead.
Yeah. So before I get showing some of that, I do have one review for this game in Hot Coco, July of 1983. So as it says, it's a Defender type game. Goes on talking about how you actually play the game a bit. And then one of the interesting things is the review does say that there's a pause feature, but I never found that. I don't know how you pause the game. I don't know if anybody else found that out.
I think it's self-paused.
And then the reviewer does talk about there are bugs in the game even back when he got the review copy here. So it wasn't because of somebody cracking it or was released with the bugs. So the enemies or the Nazbeats occasionally drift on the planet's surface or even underground. So I think we all saw that. And the cannons can shoot off one end of the screen and have shots immediately appear on the other side. So just like that Moon Patrol game we played the other day, they can shoot you from, if they're on the other end of the screen, they can shoot through the back of the screen out to your side and kill you, which happens a lot on the later levels.
But he doesn't mention the game freezing dead.
No.
Because we just got a comment from David Krager confirming. He says, I played on a 6809 on a real Coco 3 and it froze at the end of the first level.
Huh. That's... So
it's not just 639 apparently.
Okay. Well, I couldn't get it to freeze on the 6809. I played it quite a bit on the 6809 and it worked fine for me. So, but every time
on an emulator though, or on real hardware?
On emulator. I don't have any.
Yeah, he's on real hardware. So
yeah.
Was this game intended as a Coco 1 and 2 game?
Yes. It came out way before the Coco 3. It came out in 82, if I remember.
It might be something with the Coco 3 then.
That's possible. If he's trying to call some ROM routine that moved around or changed.
Or messing with the gimme, or not realizing he's accidentally messing with the gimme.
So, yeah, it could entirely be the... But it
actually,
also
there's homework for all of our game players for next week. Either in an emulator or in a real Coco 1 or 2 situation. Try the game on that and see if the same problems happen.
Well, I was running it on VCC, which is Coco 3.
VCC, though, has some issues where it lets stuff run that it shouldn't.
I know David Ladd, I think, couldn't get it running properly on XROR.
MAME.
No, not XROR.
MAME.
On MAME.
MAME.
So that could be...
Yeah, I was... Every time I pull the joystick down, the game would pause. If I tried to shoot, it didn't shoot. It was extremely erratic. And that was in both 63 and 6809 modes.
So it could be a problem with it being on Coco 3s then. And VCC just doesn't have the same problem, I guess, because of its...
Well, VCC, like I said, it has some bugs where it lets stuff run and does some odd things between the Coco 3 and the Coco 1 2 that it shouldn't be doing. I've hit that multiple times on different programs, not just games. It's not the most accurate of the emulators, let's put it that way.
Yeah. Well, it worked. Unless you're on 6309, then it didn't work in VCC. So we did, we had it, I think we had up to 4 players playing at once during the live stream last night. And that's also where I got my 400 and how many ever thousand points.
Quick question. Who is it who made the comment here? I mean, Buck is speculating if it's a Coco 3 thing. He's talking about the VCC Coco 6809.
Did anybody try XROAR? Since it's not a Coco, well, that supports Coco 3 now, so.
I did not try XROAR.
Brian Walsh said he couldn't even get the game to start. Bucko said the MAME 6809 worked for him. So David Ladd, were you using 609 MAME or 6809 MAME?
I was using both Coco 3, Coco 3H, Coco 2H, Coco 2.
Oh, none
and
of them
it did the exact same thing for me. I pulled down on the joystick, game pause. I couldn't shoot.
That's really weird. So everybody's having different experiences even with the same software. Like, that's bizarre.
It's just an oddly made game.
There you go.
Looks like a good emulator test then.
The game was stupid.
You'll know when the game crashes exactly the same way in all emulators. You've reached the peak.
Yeah, but it's not.
I tried to play it. I could get the little guy to go back and forth, you know, and I shot the button for quite a long while, and I started at 0 and I ended at 0. It didn't work.
What I want to know.
I tried 6809. It didn't work. I didn't know how to go up and down. I couldn't move the little spaceship up and down.
One thing that we did discover that this game definitely has, if you're in an emulator, you can't have both joysticks as the same input. So, like, you can't have both joysticks mapped to the same keys or to the same joystick, external joystick, because it does interfere and it won't work. You can only use the right joystick, I believe. Yeah, so it had to be the right joystick, and the left joystick had to be something completely different. You couldn't share any keys between the two joysticks, otherwise it didn't work, which was another little idiosyncrasy that we discovered last night.
Well, just from hearing David Ladd's comments, where if he moved the joystick in a certain direction, it paused the game, and there is supposed to be a pause feature in the game. Was the second joystick used for that, and the first joystick was for playing?
It might have been. I don't have a second joystick to try that out, so.
See, that might be my problem, because on MAME, both the left and right joystick are bound to my 8-bit DOE SNES 30 Pro controller. And so both of them are up, down, left, right equally on both. So that was probably it.
Yeah, that would be why yours wasn't working, because we did discover that I had that problem when I first booted up VCC as well. And none of the joystick just wasn't responding. And then when I turned I think I just changed my left joystick to mouse, and then my right joystick just worked fine.
Okay, so you might have used the left joystick as your pause feature. You move it down and you pause the game or something like that, and the right joystick to actually play.
That could be it.
Was there any keyboard action? If you hit F, it would fire?
There were a bunch of keys that did work for firing. We didn't find any that
probably
worked for
not
moving.
on purpose.
Yeah.
The old Coco Basic ROMs would actually, because the joysticks and the keyboard are read on the same PIA, if you don't set it up correctly, you can get, like, if you remember the old versions of Basic, if you hit the joystick button, like Color Basic 1.0, if you hit like the left joystick button, you get at A, B, C, D, E, F, just showing up on the screen, one big stream. And then on the other joystick, I can't remember what letters, but basically it would send out a sequence of characters, like every bit on the PIA on that particular line is a key, and it would write out all those keys every time you hit it. They actually patched Basic in 1.1 to quit doing that. And some of the old game developers, and this is 82, so I mean, this is in the early days too, when not everybody knew how to get around it. If you hit a joystick button, it would register. If you ran a regular keyboard read routine on it, it would come out as a whole bunch of keys in sequence. So it's quite possible he's just reading the PIA and then not doing that specific check for the joysticks, like masking it all.
So yeah, definitely this game was released with a few bugs and a few idiosyncrasies. But I actually found when you got up to the higher levels, it became quite a challenging, more fun game. Because in the early levels, it's pretty easy just to slowly and patiently go through and complete each level.
Even on the hard level, like
two or three levels,
difficulty.
yeah.
Now, Ken, did you record any of your 480,000?
It's all here live on the stream.
So can you show us like how difficult it does get later on?
Okay, there I am at 204,000. So you can see how many more bullets are being fired up into the... And they fire down below the ground at you, and move forward a bit more.
I mean, by this point, you thoroughly beat Sloopy, so the rest of it was just rubbing his nose in it.
Absolutely.
That's part of the fun of Game On Challenge Live.
Absolutely. Just rub Sloopy's nose in everything that you can. Too bad I can't highlight one screen, but see if I can find a part where one of those...
well, I'm sure Sloopy was purposely not highlighting your screen because he didn't want to emphasize how badly he's getting his butt
Yeah.
whipped.
So right in here, I think this is about where I start getting killed every time by the seeking missile guys, because they start coming at you so fast that you almost can't react.
I'm totally amazed you can Photoshop that in real time for a live stream.
I know. I was working hard at that.
So at what point did you get a new man, gain another man?
I think you got a new man every 50,000 or something like that.
Huh.
So it wasn't quite as easy to get free men as the other games, as some of the other games. And we're waiting. Oh, there we go. So you can see how fast they come at you there. In the top corner screen there. Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw it.
So, yeah, it got a lot more difficult. Because you didn't have time to actually... Normally what you would do when those guys would come at you is you'd let them get up close to you, and then you would just flip your ship around, and then you could shoot them. But in this one, if you tried to flip your ship around, they're moving fast enough that they could hit you in the air as you're turning around.
So I guess
Anyway.
what I'm generally gathering, aside from bugs, is that this game actually wasn't too bad. I mean, it's not quite the Defender clone it first appears to be. It's got some different, like you said, rescuing humans and then having to fly off screen, to complete a level, etc. So it had some unique elements that made it a bit more original, but the bugs really held it back.
Yeah. But, yeah, as Shenley actually said in the Discord channel, it's a fun game, but probably not going to play it again.
Yeah, because I can honestly say I don't think I've played it since I put the entry on the website. And that's quite a while ago.
So,
any tips and tricks besides running it in 6809 on an emulator?
If you're playing it, I guess, on the first few levels, staying underground is the best way to avoid being shot. And just go slow, because when you go too fast, then you start hitting things. But I don't know. Did anybody else have any tips or tricks?
Going slow is pretty good. Then the underground, get lined up, and as soon as your nose poked out of the ground, you could fire and hit something.
Shoot until as you're going through the ground level.
Right, the little blinky sprite lets you know when to start shooting. The wall starts blinking in front of you, and it's time to fire.
So that must have been the metaphysics shielding.
Now, quick question for you, Ken, based on what 60's comment here, because X60, of course, tried it in XWAR. He said, I just tried it in XWAR, and it clearly wants an analog joystick. Yeah. And I'm too bad to get to the end of the level to see what happens. Now, Sloopy normally plays with XWAR. I presume he did so on this one as well. Did he have those same freeze problems?
No. As far as I know, he didn't have any problems at all. He might have had some problems at the very beginning but I wasn't there when it happened. I think his problem was having the two joysticks mapped to the same place.
Okay. And I know XROAR through command line, I believe, supports 609. Correct me if I'm wrong, 60, but I think it defaults to 6809, so that's another possibility. The 609 definitely seems to be more prone, though David Craker does say he was running on 6809 real hardware, and he had problems too. So
it was kind of interesting physics. You have air resistance, but no gravity. So you hit the gas, you get going really fast, then you slow down until you stop if you wait long enough, I guess.
Yep.
And then you're just kind of floating there until you hit the gas again.
Yeah, 60 saying 609 is the default on XROAR, and I don't even think you can change that on the menus built in. I think you have to run command line options to enable 609. So.
Well, I don't know. Is there anything else to say about this game other than...
I think it had potential. It does need some bug fixing.
Yeah.
Maybe if I get a hair up my butt sometime in the next year or so and remember it, if you try to see if I can figure out the legal instruction thing. It won't be anytime soon.
And figure out why the buildings and the men will just randomly either float up into the air or down below the ground.
That just sounds like a programming bug, like it was mentioned.
Yeah.
In the
That's
review.
that whole
like I
low
said,
gravity, yeah.
If you're playing on the impossible level and one of the guys floats down below the ground, you're hooped because there's no way you can either shoot it or get it. So that would be a fatal bug on the impossible level.
Right.
Okay, Ken, before you reveal next week's game, I just wanted to ask you something. I've asked you in Discord, and you probably just missed it or maybe didn't reply, but I had a request for a certain company's games because we have an interview coming up.
Yep.
Have you had a chance to do that, Chet?
I have not had a chance to do that.
Okay, but you got the message. Okay, I just want to make sure.
I got the message. I just am too lazy to actually do that because,
That's the worst teaser spoiler I've ever done, but there's an interview coming up that involves games.
Yes, somebody... We're not saying they're involved with the Coco, but there's games involved.
Yeah. So you can tell it's not the Nitrous 9 one because that wasn't... Well, I guess Alan has wrote games and Bill's ported games, and I've wrote a few. Yeah, okay, maybe. No, it's not it, though. Anyway, go ahead.
Actually, I was going to ask you if you have a list of the games that person has done so I could check.
I think there's a website somewhere that has this all listed.
Yeah, it's probably not complete, though.
Well, that too.
I'll figure it out.
I'm also too lazy to go back through all the games and see who wrote each one.
I think we need a Shanghai OS 9 Shanghai competition.
Yeah. Well, or Thexter or Smash, or there's a few games there you can play. Plus Rescue and Frack, plus Chronos Rift. There's a ton.
Oh, we already played Thexter, so that was a Smash.
The OS 9 version, though?
Not the OS 9 version.
Where you can adjust the speed faster or slower if you want to make it more challenging?
Yes. Let's do that one.
Put it in the queue, Ken. Put it in the queue.
After the
when we wrap it around and we're done 1,000, 1,200, 1,500 games.
Maybe after we need to revisit something. All right. Well, let's take a look at what next week's game is going to be.
Drum roll, please.
Drum roll.
Oh, this is MG Lustig, the same guy that did Moonhopper. Except this is one of the ones he did through his own company, Arcade Animation Inc.
Cooking something?
And I'm giving clues here so somebody else can maybe try to do it. It's a clone of an arcade game. The ice cream cone is a dead giveaway as to what game that is.
No, I was thinking Burger Time, but
Burger Time without any of the
ladders and
platforms.
Burgers.
Well,
I thought it was something to do with pies.
This is the game.
Food War.
Yep. One of two food-based games that MG Lustig did through his own company.
And we're playing it on the, I guess that would be the easiest level, the furthest over.
The far left is the easiest, far right is the hardest. Actually, it's not so much it's, easiest to hardest. That's a start level, like which if you want to start on the level A, level B, level C.
Okay.
So. Now, do you know what game this is a clone of?
Food Fight.
Okay. Want to make sure, because that's the arcade game, or it's been ported to numerous other systems if you want to.
As discussing it with Sloopy last night, I don't remember that game from the arcade, but apparently it was a twin stick shooter, kind of like Robotron.
Oh God, I haven't played the arcade game in decades. I don't remember what it had for controls.
Well, he said you had two controllers, one for moving, one for firing.
I'll take a look on Claw. I don't honestly remember that, but I don't honestly remember. I only played only one of our arcades had it briefly. Like I don't remember even playing it that often. I remember seeing it.
I don't remember it at all from my days in the arcade. So
this is Coco 1, 2, and maybe 3?
I'm pretty sure it runs on the 3. I think I've tried it on the 3.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see how many games we can find that won't run on the Coco 3.
Yeah, it's a joystick-based game. It's Coco 1 and 2 with, I think, 32K. I don't think it runs on 16. Unless maybe you have the cassette version, it might.
Hey, we have a new viewer, Atari Hotel.
New Coco 2 original Model 1 owner. Cool. Welcome, Atari Hotel.
And we've had a couple sneak in on the panel here.
Oh, who joined
Michael
us there?
Furman has joined us. And Jason Reichert. Well, hi, Mike. Been a while since you've been on.
Okay, so Food War is Coco 1, 2, or 3 with 32K RAM. And joystick.
I don't know if it was ever got ported to the Dragon. Karen will have to let us know in the chat there. They definitely should have been able to run. Of course, they'd have the stripy colors unless you change the P mode from 4 to 3. But Buck Owens is saying the original arcade game version. He says, I think the stick was something unique, like a 49-way stick or analog. Anyway, welcome, Jason. Welcome, Mikey.
Howdy, howdy.
You're late, Jason.
I'm late. What, like a couple weeks late?
Couple months.
No, I'm gone for a couple weeks.
Hello. I'm actually here.
Yeah, actually, we can actually branch
VCF
into
West.
you here because you're actually somewhere special at the moment, aren't you?
That's a good
I
look for
am.
you, Mikey.
I need to flip around here. But what am I looking at? Oh, no, you guys don't want to look at an NCDX term.
No, but you should tell us first where you are and what you're doing.
Oh yeah, well, I'm at VCF West right now. So
And that's being held where?
California.
It's being held in Mountain Ville, California, at the Computer History Museum.
Cool.
So this is what we're looking at here. This little board. This is the precursor to the Coco. This is a Motorola 6800 development board. And this guy has a whole really cool display about the generation before the Coco. It's really interesting.
Does that include the VDG? Because that did come out before the Coco, I think in 77 or 78 or something.
I haven't looked at this demo, but he actually has a VDG demo over here.
Oh yeah, I recognize the screen there.
You see what's on the screen? It is not a Coco. Where is the
Predecessor to the
VDG?
Coco.
Where's the VDG chip here? Okay, VDD chip is inside here. Right, 60. So I'm live. They have a Coco Color Computer podcast, and I'm showing them your table and going, well, this is the stuff that existed before the Coco. Yep, they can't really hear you, but so yeah, that's a demo of VDG. What kind of CPU does it have? 6808 CPU, it says, not 6809. Interesting.
6808, I'm trying to remember, is that an 09 based or an 03 based style? Or
like 03.
It's a microcontroller style one, isn't it?
Has two accumulators and one 16-bit X.
Type in CLS9 to see if it gives you a Microsoft.
The Heathkit Hero 1 robot uses 6808. And I've actually programmed one.
Is it 6808 or 68,008?
Not in the 70s. No.
Let me poke again. This is he actually has it here.
Yeah,
6808 CPU.
Yeah.
A 6802
without the
with
RAM, extra RAM
no
on board.
RAM.
It's a
yeah. They're debating whether this is 6800 or 6809 based.
That's more of a
It's 6800, yeah. Sorry for interrupting.
Does it have basic?
That guy's booth was obviously pretty interesting.
Looks
And
more like a monitor, just a debug monitor.
I found somebody we know. Say hi to CoCoTALK.
Oh, look.
They can't hear you, but here's Brendan Donahue
Brendan.
and
Hey,
Coco
Brendan.
VGA. He's even got some MC10s. So
The Coco VGA.
I see an Alice.
I'll come back later when I'm not on CoCoTALK. You guys,
Oh, that's not.
you guys have
an Alice,
any
that's
questions for Brendan? Want him to stand on his head, do cartwheels, anything? No?
Ask him if he
Okay.
has any of my VG6 pictures to display.
Ron is talking about the graphics screens that he does using the Coco VGA, which those are pretty cool.
Does he have any?
Yeah, he's got a demo. Maybe I'll come back later.
Great.
Yeah. Does anybody know what this is?
A Coco 2.
But
Taco Bot. I've seen that before.
Does it make tacos?
Well, I haven't had lunch yet, so that
I don't know what I'm doing over here.
That a Tetris style game, maybe?
I'm actually live on CoCoTALK, and
none of us know what we're doing every day.
You
make tacos. It's spelled taco. You see.
Right. Well, I didn't
It's
spell
like Tetris
taco.
with taco. It's like
Right.
Tetris with tacos.
Yeah.
Oops, you didn't leave room for the A.
So whose booth is that, Mikey?
I think this game needs a spell check.
What's your name?
Player needs
Steve.
spell check.
Steve
Look,
Toner.
Cool STC.
Have
Steve
you
what?
Steve Toner? Have you been on? Do you know about CoCoTALK? You do not? I will come back and I will tell you about it. Because it's a weekly YouTube show about the color computer. So since you have color computer stuff, you'll probably be interested in it.
Look at old Mikey recruiting there.
Thank you for that bit of advertising.
Can I talk to you more about the CoCoTALK?
6809. So it's a 1.5 megahertz
Ooh.
6809.
Beautiful ceramic.
Ceramic, yes.
Wow, they actually have a picture of the 6809 die. That's pretty cool.
Old computers here.
Was here.
This book.
I recognize that book.
I remember this book too.
I remember the one to the left of it.
I have the one on the left actually in hardcover, just like that. Tab
Yeah,
Books.
I have that too.
Talk about
Oh.
arcade documentation.
Tab Books,
And then
the company that published ones nobody else would.
Right, and then here's the
The original Byte articles.
right. These articles, I recently reread these articles. These articles are amazing, actually. How much detail they go into. Actually show you what kind of things they had to go through in the 1970s to make a
CPU.
a chip. Yeah.
You also got to see pictures of the people and got the names so you know who they were.
All done by hand.
Yep.
I just turned around here.
And
Looks like we have
large floor.
this ought to be a 68,000 something VME board. Yep.
Yeah, VME bus. I recognize those cards.
Does
Weren't
it
these
make
used for, like
noise?
phone switches or something? Yeah,
What?
VME.
Are the
Weren't these
fans
used for,
making
like-
noise?
VME. Well, when they did 68,000, Motorola came up with the VME bus as a standard, way to interface to the 68,000 system. So while this may look like a switch, this one is probably actually set up as a computer. I would guess somewhere one of these is a CPU board.
Yeah.
Then they have like SCSI, serial. Looks like they have
So it'd be
have
like
some
a
networking and
multi-user.
things.
Multi-user
So
system.
this was probably actually this is actually the computer, not not like a switch, but I think some of the early.
All right.
Just very briefly, what CPU, what architecture is this computer, and what was it used for? All 68,000? Power PC. 88,000. Wow.
Oh, it's a RISC chip.
So you have a Deck Alpha. So this is a little bit later. This is not 68,000. This is after that.
The 88,000 series.
88,000 was nicer than
Sorry,
Power's
this last
PC.
one? 8. HP. Okay. So HP RISC. HP RISC probably. Yeah. Okay. Cool. And what was this system used for? Oh, okay. So all right. So these are a whole bunch, an array of different VME boards, and just to show. Okay. So this is not. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Okay.
That is a look at my collection.
Yeah. They said that.
Looks like they work too.
Yeah, they said that they're going to power some of them up. Have more Sun stuff. I haven't even looked at anything.
I just want to mention on the VME bus, our flexographic press at work, and Bill Noble, if he's watching, will remember this was actually an OSK 2.3 system on a VME bus with 68,000.
Yeah.
So press operations. So nice.
I'm just gonna walk around and.
I got your bus right over here.
If you guys see anything interesting,
Commodore, really?
Yeah. Actually, Leonard Trammell is supposed to speak this weekend.
What's this board?
Mini
Pet.
Looks like somebody did a pet and hardware.
So that's the new pet hardware that's been released. It's the clone board of the original pet.
2 years ago.
Fresno Commodore user group.
Yeah.
I have to. Whoops. I have to pick this. Sorry, I dropped something. I have to pick this up. I'm not going to join, but I may join their email if they have a forum or email list or something. I may join just for bins, right?
One of their principals is on Atari Age a lot of times. His name is Robert, I think.
You didn't see a pet there with a 6809 in it, huh?
There is a whole pet row, which is closer to the entrance. I completely skipped it. I can make my way, if you guys want to walk along with me, I can make my way back there. Looks like we have
BBC.
I think I'll just sit here while you walk.
Yeah.
That looks like an Apple One.
No.
Nope. Oh, Pong game.
Oh, the original Pong from 72.
The original Pong game.
All those chips for a Pong game?
Yep.
Yes.
It's all TTL.
Jeez.
No CPU.
Was this?
ETL.
Yeah.
TTL.
Was this designed by Woz or was it Alan Bushnell?
I think it was Bushnell. Woz did like a reduced chip version that they couldn't ever reproduce, but it did have much less logic.
Kind of like this show.
Ooh, there's EEPROM burner.
This is some kind of probably 8080 computer here. Have a lot of this really like old stuff. If you guys have been watching my YouTube channel, it's exactly the kind of stuff I've been playing with just in emulation.
Ooh,
like SWTPCs and all those.
Right. I'm working my way up to 6809. Hi. Oh. We're doing TDD.
Portable terminals.
Someone called the president on the red phone.
I prefer the Model 100 screen myself, but
he's typing to us. That's cool. I'm live on a podcast right now. And so, do you want to say hello, CoCoTALK? I only have one hand.
What's he want to do with your other hand?
Okay, I'll do it.
60 says, do any of these get me Batman?
Oh, I didn't type it right.
You spelled CoCoTALK wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there we go.
There you go.
And you got to put GA at the end of the
He's
line.
going to type something else.
So would these have been old enough? These be running at that like 75 baud
Nice to meet
rate?
you as well, yes.
You mean WaveFax is faster than that?
Well, it depends how old they're. Like the original ones were, the pre-300 were ran at like 75, 110,
Right.
you know, that
You
kind
can-
of baud rate.
You can do 300 on an acoustic couple like that with the Bell phones. So
Yeah, but the original modems didn't. They went slower than that.
I'm not sure what's going on here. It sounds like my personal speed, but I don't think it's CoCoTALK. Some kind of old stuff. There's a lot of sun stuff here today. There's a lot of actual. We can get back to the pets over here.
Wait, is that a
Vectrex?
Vectrex? Is that a Vectrex to your left?
Over here?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, geez, I thought it was. Looked like it.
That's the weirdest looking Vectrex I've ever seen.
Well, it just was a quick glance.
C64 improved.
it's one of those.
Some modern
It
taken
must
C64.
have a 6809 in it.
No.
Improved.
Probably an FPGA, and it's probably emulated.
Yeah. But do they have a super pet there with the 6809 in it?
I believe they do. We'll just. Look at this
Model
guy.
1.
There we go.
Look at this poor guy. Oh man. Is the keyboard intact at least? It looks like it is.
Yeah.
Looks like it's
like-
savable.
It's like most of my Cocos. I can just take the lid off without the screws.
Oh yeah, Alice.
Alice.
Alice,
Sing
they're
to
going to
me,
give
Alice.
me a red MC10.
MC10.
Yeah,
And then,
32 is the one with the more advanced chips.
Is that a
though, wasn't it?
102?
Yeah.
Yeah, the 32 could do 80 columns
Dragon.
and stuff.
Dragon.
It's like a 32K Dragon. Oh, it's 64.
Nope, 64.
Is that a
They're not
Tano or a
Tano.
regular Dragon?
No, it's not a Tano.
No. It actually says Tenno Dragon on it.
Oh,
right?
does it? Okay.
Coco 3 not doing very much.
Well, you should fix that, Mikey.
Get them hooked up.
At least give it an alt control reset.
Doesn't look like we're set up properly here. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it looks like there's a config file a little bit off.
Put the 3 guys on it.
Too bad there's never a Coco person around when you need one.
Is there an SD card plugged into it?
Doesn't look like it.
There's your problem.
Yeah, that might cause problems.
That'll do it every time. Trust me.
Andy 1000,
1000?
PC Junior.
Yep. Those are
Here's
actually related.
some kind of a Heath kit. Says H8.
So, Mikey, that last set of Coco 3 and Dragon and stuff there, whose booth was that?
That guy over there. He's he's talking to somebody right now. I'll have to come back. He's been at VCF the last couple of times. VCF West last couple of times. All right, so
front door.
I'm gonna zoom ahead here. We're looking for a super pet, and it looks like we have a Pet 2001.
Ah, yep.
That's the one I used in
That
school.
one's a rare one.
And the stupid little keyboard.
Yep, with a tiny
They
space
had-
bar.
But at least
had
it
a
was a real computer.
We had a science museum here in the Bay Area called the Lawrence Hall of Science. It's up in the Berkeley Hills. It's still there, but I remember going there with my dad and just pounding away on this stupid chiclet keyboard. I probably could have figured out how to program it in BASIC, but
Notice the little
2000
bar to hold the lid case up.
Oh yeah,
I love
here.
that. This little bar,
like a hood,
just like a hood on a car.
And then this is a 2040 disk system with a whole another 6502 in it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have to walk around these people.
By the way, this is the main entrance to the hall right here to the right.
Right. This is the main entrance. I just skipped by it because I was actually looking for Brandon Donahue, and I wound up at that 6800 booth. So 4032, 8032 with. Did somebody kill this? Looks like somebody did the killer poke, or it's actually broken.
No.
Is this actually broken, or did somebody do the killer poke? Is this susceptible to the killer poke? Yeah, okay, it just wasn't working. Yeah,
Super pet. There it is.
And then
right there.
Here's your super pet. So Waterloo
something basic. Waterloo.
Loading basic. The disk drive is disking. Can't hear it, but it's still loading.
Yeah, because there's a version of OS 9 for this particular computer. So
level 1.
Right.
Yeah.
While basic is loading, you guys can look at the.
Yeah, University of Waterloo in Canada, in Ontario.
Right.
Yeah.
It's still loading. How long
That's
do you want to
typical of
wait?
a Commodore disk drive, isn't it? It takes days to load something.
Come back this afternoon.
These are
Yeah.
IEEE drives. They're pretty fast compared to the.
There it is.
Looks like something's not right here.
Error loading file.
Well, I tried loading basic, and it sat ran the disk for a while, and then it said error loading file. Okay, well, we'll have. I guess it does have its own CPU. Yeah, he's got it running on this other one.
I wonder if they ever had amber or white.
They had white for sure. Ours was one of ours was white. I don't know about amber.
And then
Valley Arcade.
Yeah, the Astrocade.
Yeah.
I read about this system fairly recently. So, and then looks like we have a
uplifter.
And a
yeah,
two.
but this is not the PC Junior running. This is actually the Apple, right?
Two
It's a
platinum.
Coco
Top lifter.
joystick.
Yeah, well, Backbit is that one we've covered where it actually is a universal card adapter. You can get those little plugins to run on a whole bunch of different 8-bit machines.
Yeah.
This is a Tektronix terminal.
Yeah.
And graphics terminal.
Graphics workstation.
All Barton
Graphics
would have loved to
computer.
watch that.
Graphics workstation because we got a 16-bit CPU, 64K of memory.
Yeah.
128.
It uses for like doing CAD and stuff, or just graphics,
64K
modding
RAM.
things.
6800.
Oh, that's that
Tape drive.
No.
that screen that.
This is interesting here. He's got a GPIB cable, and he's just got a Arduino Pro or something like that on there with an SD card. So that's his disk drive to replace this tape drive, I guess. So
And so since the micro SD has so much capacity,
yeah.
I can put all the tapes I've recovered and more.
Okay. Well, there's a couple more things. Anything really interesting? You want to find out who this guy with the Coco 3 is?
Yeah, and just make sure they're aware of CoCoTALK because we'd like to have some of these people on, I think, later on sometime.
Was that a Model 1000 over on the other table?
Yeah, I think it
Yeah,
was.
there was a 1000.
Yeah, there's next here next to the PC Junior
Yeah.
is a regular 1000, and then
PC Junior.
you don't see the PC Junior sidecars very often,
No.
and you also don't see the PC Junior. I'm just gonna unplug this. IBM cartridge game.
Game cart.
Yeah.
I know we had PC Juniors in our computer lab at elementary school, but we always just played King's Quest on it.
You plug them in before you turn it on.
So, I know we've met before. I don't remember your name, but Mikey. Yes, and I'm live on CoCoTALK. Do you know about CoCoTALK? You do? Okay. So I'm showing them what we have here at VCF West. So, question: do you know that your Coco 3 is missing an SD card? Your Coco 3 over there is missing an SD card. There's nothing to load on it. Okay. All right. Well, I won't bother you then. You're gonna. Yes, I showed them the Dragon 64. They wondered if it was a Tenno. I said, nope. This is the real deal. So cool. I'll come back when I'm not on here. Can talk a little more and let you set up. Yeah, he's really in the middle of setting up.
Ask him if that Model 1 works.
Mark, are you in your chair?
Yeah, I'm still here. Apple II.
Hey, number 10.
Number 10.
Donated by Wozniak.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so there's no case. Back in the early days, you could buy the board without the case. Do your own case.
$666.66.
Do you mind
That
if
was
I
the
lift
Apple
the
one.
top so I can take
That
a
was the
picture
Apple
of this?
one.
Oh, right,
That was
right,
Apple
right.
One.
Because
Yeah, these were a little
has a lot
bit
of
more. I
flair.
think.
There we go.
Yeah.
I'll close it when I'm done. Okay.
So the light green slots like that indicates the early series Rev Zero board, first one's out.
Yeah.
They only have 4 colors too. They don't have 6 like the later ones.
This
prototyping area in the bottom left corner
Yeah,
there.
prototyping area there.
That was removed after all the other board revisions, but the early ones had that.
So this, from what I remember, this motherboard is the original Apple II. Is this the same layout as the production one, or is this different?
Oh no, it's same. This is called a Rev Zero board.
It's a production one. It's a production one, but it's number 10. Yeah, she says it's a production one, but it's number 10. Mark, you're saying about the green slots.
Yeah, the light green, the very first first 6,000 or so, I'll have light green slots. Later on, they'd have dark green or black. But yeah, that's how I usually tell. It's the light green slots. It's an early one, very early one.
Oh wow! She said that Dan. Oh, they're gonna fire this up after 2 o'clock. They said that Dan Putke, one of the early Apple employees, actually built this one. Take a look at
friend
this
of
keyboard.
Steve Jobs. Yep.
Oh, for the Apple One. Okay. Okay.
It never worked well.
Yeah.
I complained bitterly
Yeah.
to Woz. He said, "Okay, I'll replace it." And
Yep.
gave us this one.
Hey,
Okay,
Mikey, is this Liza Loop?
I'm sorry, Mark.
Is this Liza Loop?
Liza Loop. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, she's an early Apple educator. She used the Apple One and the Apple II.
Okay. I'm on a live podcast, and the guy asked if you were Liza Loop, and I looked him. Okay. Yep. So she's got the Apple, early Apple II. So.
Yep.
And is it yours? Apple One number 1. What about that? Prototype that recently showed up? The one that has the corner. Oh, I have to show you the Apple. Not this Apple One. Liza's telling me that unfortunately there's glare because of the lighting, but this is apparently Apple One number 1.
Awesome.
The first one. Oh, thank you.
I'll give him $100 for it.
Multiply that by about
That might
100,
cover the
dude.
heat sink, Nick.
I think that's a hard no.
Who actually owns this?
My nonprofit, Loop Center Inc.
Yeah, so Loop Center
200 then.
actually owns this.
Getting closer.
They're joking on the podcast. They're like, "Oh, I'll give you $100." No, I'll give you 2. I'm like, haha, very funny, very funny.
Forgot the comma 000 after that price is what happened there.
All right, guys.
Exactly.
I
More apples.
have to show you. I have one thing I have to show you. This came up very recently in a video. You guys see this? Have you seen this?
RR.
This
I have
is
not.
an Apple One prototype, which, from what I heard, this prototype was in Steve Jobs had it, and he decided that there's, I guess there's some debate on, obviously he probably took some of the chips for something else, but there's some debate about what happened to the rest of the circuit board. Have you figured out anything more about what happened to the rest of the circuit board? Did he break it because he thought it wasn't useful, or what? Don't know.
Somebody dropped it. Or...
Yeah, they don't know. Is this,
by the way,
is this auction active right now? Yes. Okay. I'm just curious. So where does it happen to be at?
Out of Boston, but it's online only.
No, I mean price.
Oh, it's at 7,000 right now.
So this Apple One circuit board, I'm live on the podcast for a completely different computer, TRS-80 color computer. This Apple One prototype is currently on auction, and it is $470,000 right now for this.
Not bad for trash.
It's not just any trash. It's Steve Jobs trash.
Steve Wozniak.
Steve Jobs, Apple, rare. Dumpster diving page.
That
one's broken.
And
For people-
they have. Go ahead, Mark.
For people who don't know, circuit boards are that yellow color. The reason why they're green or some other colors is because they put solder mask on. So when you're doing prototypes, a lot of time you don't worry about the solder mask. You just get the boards made and they're kind of that goldish color. And then you can build your stuff and test them. And then when you get the actual production ones, then you get them green or black or red or whatever.
Yeah. So 407. So guys, we have a lot of Cocos to sell to get $475,000. This is.
I figure Nick will just give up some of his Lamborghini or his Ferraris.
He's holding it up. Oh, we can actually see the back.
It should be cheaper because it's broken.
It's still broken on the back. Oh, look at
it's not-
there's
Bodge wires.
It's not really.
Steve Jobs,
it's not really
rare.
broken.
Look at there's bodge wires.
Hey,
Can
that way you know it's been fixed.
Can you guys see the bodge wires? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's worth something.
30 AWG.
I wonder what other kind of stuff they got from this garbage can.
Penny whistle modem.
See this? This is
Yeah.
the instruction manual for a penny whistle modem. I actually met Lee Felsenstein a few times here at VCF, a few other places. So Lee Felsenstein actually designed this penny whistle modem, and this one is also on auction right now. And it's an original. Is this penny whistle kit completely unbuilt? So it's just a box of parts, and it has Lee Felsenstein's instructions.
Imagine back in the day, you'd buy this because it's so much cheaper than getting a complete one and put it together yourself.
They have a Radio Shack one.
This is who's this guy? I think we all know.
Mr. Bill Gates. So what is that?
Looks
Radio
like a
Shack?
Model 100.
Yeah, that's what it looks
See,
like.
it's got a Model 100. So this I got that. This
Property of
Microsoft, M100 number 10. And there's a note that says, "I don't need this anymore. It is Microsoft property. I am going to start using the Model 100." Okay, fine.
200.
Model 200.
Model 200.
1986.
Okay, yeah, 1986.
So is that
this
the one in the picture
I
in his hands?
can ask if they know, but he's showing the Apple one to somebody. So this is of course our auction, and if you guys go, I saw a video about this one the Apple one a couple days ago. You know, these items, and of course Mark, Curious Mark, who's been doing all of like the Apollo stuff. They've been getting some of their hardware also from our auctions. So
hopefully this
pretty
doesn't
cool.
mean railroad.
Here's your hint. Rare and remarkable. All right, so Apple stuff. there's more stuff outside in the hallway. They have analog
Macintosh.
computers. They have
Portable Macintosh.
Newton.
Newton. Portable
Teammates. Hom. And then we're back at 6800.
What?
So
No
that's kind of
Coleco
a-
Adams?
I have not seen any. Okay, well, if you guys want to see more, I can walk out into the hallway.
So do
And,
they have announcements every once in a while overhead?
Whoops.
But
I'm
wait,
holding
there's
some
more.
Yeah, I think they have announcements every once in a while. So
Yeah, Ron
Anything
wants you
that
to live stream the WeFax seminar.
Yeah.
I'll let me
Somebody.
just quickly show you guys this thing.
Oh, stealth
believe-
computers right there.
I missed that.
What was the point?
Now this is a real computer. A Link.
Takes part of a wall.
Probe interface. What do you guys think is going on here? Can you reprogram the computer by putting layers in here? I don't know. Oh, probes.
Bet it's based on octal. 6
There's
switches.
there's a screen, yeah. Tape drive.
So what brand is that?
This is probably you can see what it says. No, Link. So this is all part of Link.
Link. Okay. Linkgate.
Link would have been a project. I don't know if it's specifically
Link-
of
Link- Lincoln
DEC,
Lab-
but
It's
but
digital.
the MIT laboratory,
Lincoln Laboratories, probably.
right?
It says digital down there. Like
Yes.
Digital equipment. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Deck Link. Okay. Sure.
Too
they're all
much
the same
glare.
area.
I'm sorry, guys.
All the same
And
area.
something is being brought in over here. Maybe it was purchased, but I wanted to take you guys over here. Actually,
Oh, IBM Portable.
IBM
Mac
PS2 model P70
Yeah, Portable
Mac
7.
Portable. I saw the Mac Portable. I'm like, I have to show you guys this. I remember, my friend and I in grade school were having talking about the portable computers. We were talking about the Mac Portable. Then here's a compact portable.
Yep, one of the first PC portables.
This is like a lunchbox style, complete with a 5 1/4 floppy.
Probably weighs about 30 pounds.
I had a compact one.
Then
It's a big Mac, isn't it? Yeah.
That Quicksilver Mac there.
Yeah.
yeah. And this one is Power Mac 9000.
Power
Yep.
PC. Yep. Be like a server or workstation.
PowerBook,
Cube.
Mac SC30. We have circuit board repair corner here is the ultrasonic cleaner. Another modded Mac, but looks like working on a Mac motherboard here.
Yep.
You see any fish tank Macs? Those were big back in the
And
2000s.
this also we can see the screen, but we can also see the live view.
Nice.
This looks like another Mac motherboard.
Is he burning his hair?
No, he knows
Using-
better.
Yeah, they're much more skilled
He
than I.
actually knows what he's
Using
doing.
hot tweezers
You're
to
gonna-
lift the part off the board.
You're gonna fire it up. He doesn't hold the soldering iron with his fingers the proper way.
Like
Well,
the
they're-
stock
they're
photos.
They're
Yeah.
hot tweezers,
Hot tweezers, yeah.
and the part just went in the bin.
Good stuff.
See, hot
Should I
tweezers for me just means I can melt my hair twice as fast.
Should I type CoCoTALK was here?
Sure.
Okay, I'm not gonna do that. As I said, there are a couple more things out in the hallway. I haven't even made it to like the consignment center. Oh, it looks like Basic finally loaded on the Super Pet because somebody is here typing away on it.
Looks super.
Looks like a pretty good sized show.
So in previous years, they haven't had anything. This is like the main hallway. Normally at other VCF, they haven't had anything here.
In the past 5 years or so, no.
Yep. So they have this whole row of analog computers, which I still don't think I completely understand what's going on with them. But they have like operational amplifiers and stuff, and you can wire them together to make different kinds of mathematical equations and other weird arcane stuff. Here's another one. Car system suspension
voodoo.
simulation. I just look at the equation and it's like, woo, okay, differential equations. Bye, I'm out of here. Here's some more.
You want me to do math?
Yeah. I did not do very well in my differential equations class.
No, I had a challenge too. I copied these problems out of textbooks.
Right. Something to put on the analog computer, right? He said he copied the problems out of textbooks. So this thing is some kind of single board computer thing.
Pretty much hopes you.
There's no punch card computers there?
I have to go downstairs.
Oh, there's more?
They have, well, no, in the actual museum.
Oh.
The actual museum, they have the IBM, 1402 computer, just literally about downstairs from where I am right now in this hallway. No, it's in the other corner over there. Have some kind of military computery teletypey thing. Military radio teletype. Telex.
Nukem? What's playing there?
And then portable computers, Minitel. Is there a Minitel server somewhere?
I'm gonna try and set one up.
You're actually gonna try to set up a Minitel server.
Has a proper serial point in the back, so I'll take one through a Raspberry Pi.
That's pretty cool. Then have this
RST,
lonely
it looks
Atari.
like?
Yeah, don't have much Atari love this time. Last time they had Atari, so looks like he's doing controller type projects.
Check out that big chip.
Which one?
Big chip on the table there. Bull chip.
Bullshit.
Yeah. And then definitely have enough Macintoshes to last a lifetime. What do you guys think?
More than
Yeah.
enough.
No fish tanks though, huh?
That's pretty cool.
That's for jail.
There's been this trend with Apples to have translucent cases. They have them for the Apple IIs, 2Es, and the Macintoshes. So
This one is pretty cool.
So all those Macintoshes were Motorola's, huh?
yes,
That's
they're
right.
either
All
68,000 or
Motorola
88,000.
68,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the earliest chip Raskin prototypes from 81 were 6809.
Yeah, I'd rather hear that.
Need a real-time clock, please. No, wait. This is just an alarm clock. Original Macintosh accessories.
Some of that sales material the Apple stores would get, the posters and the lighted display.
Are they selling any Apple shoes or shirts?
There's a line for something over here. I don't know what this line over here is.
Might be the bathroom.
No.
Is there a buffet?
No.
No.
I walked in.
It's a museum.
I actually walked in today through the back door instead of going through the front of the museum, and so I saw this line. I didn't know what it was. Anyway, books. I didn't see any books that are really that interesting here.
There's
A couple of interesting programming books.
These for sale?
These books are all for sale. See,
I
programmers.
have that one.
Yeah, I see a fourth one there.
Joe Campbell.
Right.
That covers K-Pro, Z80, and IBM PC. I have that on the bookshelf.
See how good Mark's memory is.
I studied it intensively because I wrote an IBM terminal program using references in that book.
And then this fourth book, I never really did learn fourth very well, but this book here is of course the Bible.
You know,
the Bible for fourths.
We should interview Mark Overholzer for one of our shows.
Doing
Maybe
what?
he's got an interesting past.
I don't know if we're going to be able to get him. We have to go through his.
What is this line for?
Pretty sure it's for the consignment. Wait a second.
This is a line to get into the consignment room, not just to look at stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what it's to get in.
Holy
Wow.
jeez.
They have a Mac hooked
Well,
up to
I'm
a
just
toilet.
gonna poke my head in there. I'm on a podcast, but well, I may have to join the line eventually. I'm going to ask if there's any chance I could just take you guys inside the consignment room, but I think, yeah. I don't think we're going in here today because of this line.
Tell them there's 700 people behind your phone.
Consignment room is in there. And, I don't think I'm even going to get in there today.
Those are the clothes for sale over there.
Oh, there was something
Yeah.
interesting.
Free table.
Scanners.
Ooh, floppy drive.
Looks like a Mac keyboard.
Yeah, Macaulay third-party
It's-
keyboard. It
It's,
looks like.
it's USB though.
It's a jail keyboard.
How about a floppy drive?
What
I
is
had
it?
one of those keyboards at work, actually, one of our Macs.
360K?
I can't quite tell. There's no.
No
Right
label
here.
on what it is.
That
Brand
looks
name.
like one of them.
Mitsubishi.
Yeah, Mitsubishi's.
Mitsubishi.
Mitsubishi.
MF504-362.
Must be a 360K dual side.
Yeah,
It's
that'll
going-
be 360.
It's going under my arm for the moment. I think you guys know what that means.
He stole it.
You're going to get frisked on the way out.
These are free.
This is the free table.
Oh,
This is a
So-
free table.
That just means he's going to get in trouble later for bringing it home to Mrs. Furman.
Is there an
Well-
MC10 there?
This
Looks like some
this will fit.
scanners.
This will fit in the backpack. So
He'll sneak it
I
home.
don't have to say any, and it was free, so I don't think I have to say anything.
We're
So
not
there's
gonna- we're not going to tell.
there's one other room down here.
You better hope she's not watching, Mikey.
You have a lot. This is Eric. He's one of the VCF West pioneers. I'm on CoCoTALK. This is the line to the consignment room.
We're working on lowering the line. We had a couple of glitches this morning, technical difficulties. Please stand by. But then this line should be cleared in an hour.
All right, I'll let you go, Eric. Good show so far.
So for those you don't know, the big VCFs, they put all the things for sale in the consignment room. They basically take a 15% commission for show overhead. So everything gets sold goes in there.
Here's the entrance booth, selling T-shirts, and they said hi. Here's another free table. I picked up a cable from here earlier.
That's the other room. That's the other room these you have consignments in too.
I didn't see this box. It's an empty box.
It's free.
You can put more free stuff in there.
Yeah, should I put this floppy drive back down? No, I don't think so. I think I keep that.
We're not going to tell.
Ooh.
Sneak it home.
What is this? This looks like technical specification for monitor. This book was interesting. It's some kind of a DeVry University
Oh, Bell and Howell.
And Bell and
Yeah.
Howell, electronics course.
Oh, yeah.
This
Basic
book
electronics.
actually looked pretty interesting. I might be able to learn something from this. What do you guys think?
It's
Should I grab it?
1970s. It's probably not relevant.
Wait, those are ohms.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can take
Resistors-
it, but it might not
Resistors are
fit
still
in the backpack.
resistors.
Looks
What
like,
was that, Mark?
Resistors are
It's
still
1970.
Anyway, sorry.
They didn't repeal Holmes' law, did they?
You forgot to specify which mark you were asking for there, Mikey.
Oh. Well, Mark B isn't really saying that much, so.
So are these consignments or these another display?
What do you think?
Empty S100.
S100.
With the price on it.
Hmm.
Oh, this,
$50, yeah.
Did
Well,
you
this
find
is
the
an-
back way into the consignment room?
well, this is a completely different room.
Oh.
They usually do consignments in this room, at least they did in 2019 and 2018.
It seems like VCF West is so much bigger than
Yeah, it is.
it was
It's
in,
huge.
in previous years. I think
S100
it's
cards.
Yep.
Ooh, some
Anything
photo
interesting?
Those
Have
are-
an EEPROM.
Those are
EEPROM
Frapple boards.
programmer.
Yep.
Here's a Chromenco floppy disk controller, and this is a. Let's see, where are we here? So I don't.
GRS
Yeah.
instead.
Is that
Backplane.
backplane?
These look like some VME or probably VME motherboards, similar to what we saw earlier.
Pilot
They
cables.
have a nice picture on the wall.
There you go.
It's like a press.
Some kind of where's L Curtis?
Yeah, kind of. This is like a bit of a press or digital press.
It looks like a web press.
High speed printer or some kind of a high speed press or something.
Yeah, with
Right.
roll paper.
Cables, power supply. Any interesting cables?
Hard to tell.
Any real-time clocks?
KVM buried in there.
Yeah, I saw the KVM too. Port master modem, more S100. I picked up.
Hayes modems.
Hayes modems.
Yeah.
Or
Holy
boxes.
jeez! I think
100
I picked up a Hayes modem. We still have one electronics store here. It's called Anchor Electronics, and I picked up a Hayes modem. I think it was like $20 or $25, and like I have to take this home. I can't leave it here. I think I may have tried to put it down, and I'm like, no, it's coming home with me. And I have it at home.
How many
Yep.
baud are those? Do you think?
They're like the old ones. Are probably 300.
Yeah.
Hayes
probably
Smart
300.
modem is either 300 or 1200.
Maybe 300, 1200. Yeah. I think though the Smart Modem 1200 said Smart Modem 1200 on them, so it's probably
Yeah,
Right.
I believe they did.
Yeah, they used that box for a while, huh?
So Hayes actually made a 110 300 modem that was on an S100 card. I actually have one. Came with my North Star Horizon system. Oh,
Yep.
right there. I have one of those.
Speaking of
North-
Horizon,
Yeah, I have one like that.
Which one like what?
The North Star Horizon right there. I have a chassis just like that. It has,
Is it 8080 or Z80?
It's C80. So
Run CPM.
yeah, I've got a ton of discs. I haven't done anything with it. I got it a year or so ago, 2 years ago, year and a half ago.
Laptops.
Is that a Toshiba?
Atari cartridges.
An Atari. Here's an Atari 400 with an interesting add-on.
Chiclet keyboard rather than the
It-
membrane.
But it has the
So-
space bar.
So
No,
this.
see, they have. See,
Here's
that's
the
what they come
original
with.
keyboard, and
That's
then
stock.
there's just this rubber sheet, and you just place this on top. So at least you have some buttons that you can press.
Yep, tactile.
But Coco keyboard is actually still better than this, to be completely honest.
I bet it is. Signal generators,
Where?
printers, those things with the knobs there on the other side. Or are they lasers?
These are lasers.
Oh, they're lasers.
Yeah, lasers.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Lasers.
This one has this one we're looking at the business end, and then the
Right.
other one we're looking at the control end. It's actually Hewlett Packard 550C laser head.
Those
Here's the
helium
business end
neon
over-
lasers then, or
California Association for Research
in Astronomy.
In astronomy. Interesting.
Probably pointed
Then-
it out of the observatory.
Printers.
See,
I think I think
Okidata.
my parents' house. I have a printer kind of like this one. I don't know if it's operational.
I had one of those.
Color. Try the
2014.
color one.
Part of a floppy
9-track.
drive.
9-track
I
tape.
got a
9-track tape. I
Hey.
recognize those.
I got a whole floppy drive for free. Why do I want to take the partial one? And then there's some test equipment here. HP
19-inch
function
rack.
generator.
Rack mountable.
And then power supply, model 722 AR. And here's some Nixie
Digital.
tubulators.
Channel A. Probably frequency generators again. Or signal
Cables on
generators.
this table, $1. They are SCSI cables.
SCSI cables.
They'll clean up okay.
I really
Follow
don't
those.
think I need more. So there's a little bit more stuff here. There's a row that we didn't go down.
Like that. Oh, looks like
All right.
another
So
S100.
I have a tower PC for $5.
Dell.
And then what's this
XT
thing?
chassis. Looks like an XT computer.
Well, it's got a little teeny motherboard in here. I don't
Might
think
be a
it's an
backplane.
XT.
Might be a
No, it's not.
backplane. No?
It's not a backplane. There's actually a motherboard in here.
Oh, okay.
As you can see, there's actually a motherboard in there.
Like
So-
a 286.
Yeah, it's 286. It's got full-size ISA slots.
Data systems design, DSD, whatever. Okay, fine. Leading edge.
Mm-hmm. It could be. Yeah, PC. Original PC.
We're doing
or
Hello
XT.
World here.
It's got to be the original PC or XT, one of the others.
This one is 400, 350, 170.
Does that have a flip top case?
No, the PC.
No.
The PC cases, they have 5 screws on the back, and then the whole thing
Yeah.
slides forward towards.
I got one that it's a flip top with a hinge.
I used to work at a computer lab where they had PCs and XTs, and we took them apart every quarter and dusted them out.
Wow. 1802 CPU.
Oh, RCA.
Yep, actual RCA ones.
Yeah, the power of the cosmic elf.
Yep. Slide rules,
Slide rules.
calculators.
Leather case.
This thing is pretty cool.
Is that an
HP?
abacus?
45.
I see an
Getting
abacus
close.
there.
Oh, it looks
Yes,
kinda
there's
like
an
one, doesn't it?
abacus, but it's an abacus with a calculator. Abacus,
In
calculator. Abacus,
case your lie,
calculator.
if your eyes deceive you.
That's
So
your
what brand
battery
of
backup.
slide
If the battery in the calculator
That's
fails,
your
you got the
paper
abacus
type.
handy.
Hard
80
punch.
hard So what
There's
brand
your
of
paper type.
what brand of slide rule is that, by the way? Is it like doesn't look like a Coiflanesser, it looks more like a Bicket or something.
There's the boxed one is KE,
Oh, it's K&E. Okay, it just has a brown case. I usually see
and
orange.
then the brown case one has
okay.
to see
It
made
looks
in
like
USA.
Yeah.
Bamboo center.
Hang on.
No, it's
Let me-
plastic. It's yellow. It's Picket probably. Reliance.
Brand X.
This is the brand, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I haven't seen that brand, but no, look at it. It's a sandwich. It's a bamboo sandwich. Look at it. Look at the
Right.
edge. Yeah, see, it's bamboo, and then it has plastic on the front and back. I have a slide rule collection, by the way.
Definitely not. It was
Yeah, we couldn't tell.
Oh, it's upside down anyway. All of the numbers are gonna fall off. I need to put you down, guys. Let me slide this back into the case
It's
if I
leather
can.
case.
Oh,
I can't
we're
slide it
gentle
back in.
next time.
There's like documentation and stuff in there.
He's
So
stuffing
I'm
his
just gonna-
he's stuffing his backpack. That's what he's doing.
Well, that way, there's no video evidence then.
That's right.
Mike, he's not that kind of person.
No, he's not.
Only
He's not.
only what I
Justin
got
Jeff.
for free, right? Just for free.
He only stuffs
Exactly.
things in his backpack from the free table.
And that's only to keep it from his wife.
Huh?
Apple II. Oh,
Is this for real?
Could be. Open it up. Lift the case off. So it's an Apple II. It's not a Plus. It's got the raised power light, so it's one of the earlier ones. Drop it inside there carefully. Cool. Okay, so it's got black slots. Look in the back left corner of the motherboard, right by the power supply.
Down
right
here?
there. Yeah, what's the number there, say?
D8106.
8106? Okay, so that would be an actual serial number probably. Oh, no, 8106. That's probably a year, actually. It's 1981-06 week, most likely. So, yeah, it's hard to say. Does it have, no, it doesn't. There's no RAM jumpers on the left side, so it's probably a Rev 7 motherboard.
And only $1,000.
Yeah, it's all the.
You guys can see inside there. I can't. Anything inside there? No. Okay.
Show us where the smoke comes out.
The power supply right there.
Assuming
as soon as the reefer
that
caps
it's
go.
all original. Yeah, assuming it's all original. See, the keyboard is old. The keyboard is from like before 1978, but the motherboard's newer. But Apple was notorious when you sent them in warranty. A lot of times they didn't come back with original parts. They'd like take your components off your motherboard, put them on a fixed one, drop it in there, and send it back. So you get a lot of them that are mismatched. The power supply numbers, the serial number.
I can't believe this. This is getting to crazy town.
Well, think about it. If it's really an Apple II lid and an Apple II case and power supply, if you have an old Apple II motherboard from like 1978 or something, that's what they go for,
Wow. Okay. Well, I think that's about it. Anything new? No? All right. Well, anything else you want to that you want to see a little bit more of? I can go buy, or is that enough of shaky cam?
Is the consignment room?
It's slammed.
Still got a line or what?
I don't know if you heard what Eric. Yeah, it's still. I can see the line from across the way here. See those people lined up over there? Eric's. When I ran into Eric, he said, I don't know if you heard him. He said they had technical difficulties in the consignment area at the beginning, and that's how they got into this situation. Unfortunately.
Oh, so it opened real late.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Tell him you got a bag of 20s. They'll let you in there.
With that many people, I wasn't about to try to even cut in line. If you guys know what I mean.
Yeah.
It would be too. That would be not gentlemanly.
Yeah, definitely. They have a lot more exhibits than they did in 2019 or 2018.
Yeah, it looks like a pretty big show. So.
And I don't see any free coffee anywhere.
Yeah.
One thing about it is a computer history museum, so I'm sure they're a little bit more amenable to stuff. So I do know that they usually get pretty good turnout when they have these events. They did it at VCF Pacific Northwest, and I believe
We
also
have
at West.
Evie, Zeke, Joy, Henry, and Anna going on.
Hey, I see a Taylor and
adventure.
Amy shirt there too.
Hey, Oregon Trail. Look at that.
Yeah. I actually played last year sometime when I dug out my Apple IIc. I actually played Oregon Trail with my wife. That was fun.
Trip down memory lane.
More Apple motherboards. Probably the same one.
Repair stuff, yeah.
All right, guys.
Go say hello to Brendan.
Yeah, thanks for the live report. And some of those Coco people that are there that are, not regulars on the show or stuff, we should see if you can line up some interviews or something, bring them on at least to talk about their, exhibits, etc. Get
their contact info.
Yeah, I will. But I want to put you guys down, and then I can talk to people more easily without the headphones, right?
Yeah, well, enjoy yourself with the show there, and thanks for showing us.
It was nice.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Mikey.
Oh, he's waving. The Newton and Palm guy is waving too.
Okay, commercial break.
Yep.
You are watching CoCoTALK, the world's leading weekly video podcast, featuring the Tandy Color computer. We spread the love to the past, present, and future for all models, including the original color computer, the Coco 3 and the world-renowned exclusive French-Canadian Coco 2. The Radio Shack.
CoCoTALK would like to thank the patrons who sponsor our program, so our heartfelt gratitude goes out to Alan Huffman, Alan Murphy, Blair Ledoux, Boat and Aaron, Brendan Donahue, Brian Weasler, Brian Walsh, Karen Anscombe, D. Bruce Moore, Daddy Burrito, Daniel Williams, Diego, Eric Canales, Glenn Hewlett, Graham Vebke, Grant B., Grant Leedy, Henry Strickland, Jason Downs, J Style, Ken Reichert, Malfunct, Melly, Michael Pitsley, Mike Rayburn, OG Hugo, Paul Fiscarelli, Paul Shoemaker, Paul Thayer, Retro Tech Time, Rick Hewlin, Rob Inman, Rocky Hill, Stephen Wagner, Steve Batson, Steve Rasmussen, Terry Steen, Terry Steggy, The Backyard Shed Gang, Tim Thayer, Tom C., Tom Gunderson, Tom Heron, Tom S., Tony C., and William Athing. Thank you ever so much, patrons.
It's time for everyone's favorite segment, Who's New to Discord This Week?
Mr. Joe. Hi, I'm Joe. I purchased a Coco 3 for my children back in the 1980s. We had so much fun learning. Now, at age 66, I recently retired and am trying to interest my grands in the world of Coco. Dr. Ted Crazylegs Nelson. Hi, I'm Doug. Mostly interested in 80s 8-bit computers, although the Coco was the only one I had as a kid during that time. My dad bought himself a Coco 1 in 1981 and taught himself programming on it, not to mention hacking it to 64K, adding a keyboard, etc., and for Christmas '84 he got me a 64K Coco 2. I could never wrap my head around the programming and always wanted to try and get into that. Chris B. Hello all. I'm Chris. I enjoy all 8-bit computers, but the Coco and MC10 will always have a special place in my heart. I got my MC10 in 1983 and my first Coco 2 in 1984. My interest in retro 8-bit was sparked a few years ago when I discovered VCC and ColorComputerArchive.com. I'm not much of a social media person, but after hearing about the Discord server on the CoCoTALK podcast, I figured how bad could it be, associating with other like-minded Coco misfits. Joel H. Hey, I'm Joel, coming over from the Tandy Discord. I'm a collector and enjoyer of the TRS-80, among some other childhood machines. The Coco 1 kicked off my collection habits, and I just recently scored my first Coco 3, which by the looks of the photos needs repair. Hoping to get more acquainted with the Coco side of the Tandy Radio Shack arena. Find my AO at https://abytebehind.com/. Thanks for accepting me. Shuford 14, Eddie. Hello. Dropping over from the Tandy Discord group. I worked at Radio Shack back in the 80s and I believe the Coco was my first take-home system. Now, nearly 40 years later, I'm a collector of TRS-80/Tandy/Grid systems and Tandy/Radio Shack corporate memorabilia. Hoping to learn, relearn? Exciting things about the Coco. I have the 1, 2, 3, MC10, and a Dragon 32 in the collection so far. My Soft. Yes, so hello people, I'm Gregory Harbs, also known as My Soft. I have a CP400 and I'm the author of the Fast Loader project, and been on Coco_chat, IRC, for a few good years. Shenley. Hi all. I'm AJ. I've been collecting consoles and games for about 20 years. Recently, I rekindled my love with the Coco, and have been scouring the web looking for resources. Looks like I found the place to go. The previous bios were edited for time. Thanks to Boys in Tech, Paul Fiscarelli, Paul Shoemaker, Nightbeard, Glenside Computer Club and the CoCoTALK patrons for boosting the server. Please consider joining Discord and visiting the welcome section to read these bios in full and see what the community has to offer. http://discord.cocotalk.live.
See y'all on Discord!
From around the world, what you need to know. Get caught up on News with L. Curtis Boyle.
And now a Muppet News Flash.
Okay, so since we've had kind of the Game On Challenge stuff first, and then we went to the live VCF, which is kind of like regular news style stuff. I don't know which one you guys want me to do first, game news or regular news.
It doesn't matter.
Anybody have a preference?
Surprise us.
R&D 2. Okay, here we go. I'll do games first, I guess, just to be traditional. Okay, so the first is a batch by Jim Gary's been busy again as usual. So the first one here is called Volcano. It's a 10-liner basic game. I think he's actually entering it in the 10-line basic programming contest. And I think he called it a Flicker Fest or something like that on his post on Facebook. But we're doing stuff in 10 lines. What do you expect? So this one you have to use your helicopter to rescue victims of a volcanic eruption. And he's got some pretty neat little graphics there. He's got his little Y as your character you're rescuing. Semi-graphic spell helicopter, the little burst coming up, but he's got a nice use of all the yellow and orange colors there to make it look like it almost looks like the wildcatting drilling screen, to be honest, but not bad for 10 lines of basic, at any rate.
Pretty cool looking, actually.
So you can get to the point where you actually rescue somebody. And of course, you got to dodge all the lava rocks and stuff flying out. So. And it randomly places the people on the sides. Next up is Alien Attack by David W. Stewart. Now, this one actually he uploaded 2 videos for during the week. He did the initial conversion of it. And the original version by David Stewart was actually published in a magazine called Portable Program Review Magazine, December 1985 issue. Now, the first version he did basically... I'm understanding this is a fairly small screen portable. It was originally written for, so it was just kind of up in the upper left corner of the screen and only taking part of the screen. So this is the revised version he did a little bit later in the week where he actually centers it, does some inverse video, etc., to make it look a little bit better. It's kind of like a 3D space shoot 'em up style. And it looks a lot better now because before, like I said, it was in the upper left corner of the screen, wasn't inverted video, so it looked a little bit worse than it does now. And the last one that he put up is a port from the same original author, David W. Stewart, this time from an earlier October 1985 issue of Portable Program Review Magazine. This is kind of like a low-res Dungeons and Dragons style game, kind of like a Calibeth from the Apple II days. So basically, it's one of those, get all the treasures type thing with some low-res 3D graphics. Now, one difference here is that it's got like the nice numbered single key sequences to do things. You don't have to type anything like an adventure game. And there's little objects you can see on the screen. You pick them up, they actually disappear. So it's actually fairly well done for a low-res game like this. Anyway, it's a long video. I'll let you guys watch that. But next up, and this is just kind of a fun one. Hugo Defort has been playing Shanghai for quite a few years here, and I guess he has never won it before. And he said, I finally won a game of Shanghai. So for those people that have also never won a game of Shanghai, you get to see the little sequence that happens when you win the game. This is one that I know Rick Adams has mentioned. He was disappointed because he was trying to cram the full-size Dragon as appears on some of the other ports like the Amiga, the Atari ST, etc. But he couldn't fit it on the 16K cartridge ROM that Tandy said he had to fit it on, so he only had to do the little head in the middle part. I just thought it was neat for some of the people who've never seen that actually happen, because sometimes it takes quite a while to win a game of Shanghai. And then this is the channel we've been covering lately, doing Dragon 3264 games and doing them on real hardware. But the nice thing about his is that he's actually got the original cassettes with the original artwork for all these games too, and he does them in pairs based on a theme. So in this case here, these are kind of well, Time Bandit, I'm sure all you're familiar with. That's basically a sort of Tutankhamun base, but with a lot of extra stuff added in. And then Glove is kind of a Gauntlet clone, so they're both 4-way scrolling or 2-way scrolling in the case of Time Bandit. Going through mazes, etc. But once again, the artwork really nice. Now, will mention that Glove is actually a later game. This was published by Chronosoft by James McKay, the same guy who did the 3D Death Chase we did recently. And I think he did Glove in 2007. And it's actually a game that recognizes whether you have 32 or 64K, so it can buffer some stuff. And it also recognizes whether you have a Dragon 32, 64, or a Coco 1 or 2, and adjusts itself accordingly. So it's a more recent one. I'll fast forward a little bit here. So Time Bandit on the Dragon, of course, they didn't have artifact colors.
Your garden and all of time.
But you can see here, it's actually using the PMO 3 color so that you get actual color.
But does he have a lava lamp?
Yeah.
Dungeon clearances. Do you have any
And this is Glove for those of you not seeing it. So that's one of the Gauntlet clones we have for the Coco. Now, Glove was actually released as a freebie, though you can buy it on cassette with the fancy artwork and stuff like that too. So it's a collector thing, or if you just want to play, you can just play it. So that was a nice thing, nice gesture to the community that James did. And actually, not a bad little Gauntlet game. This next 2-pack here are a couple games for the Dragon, specifically Airball and Wizard's Quest. Both of these were written for the Dragon. Airball is, I don't know how you describe it. You're playing a blown up ball that you have to reinflate yourself on occasion, but don't overinflate because you'll kill yourself, and you have to jump over spikes and navigate a maze, and it's not easy. I guess it's probably the best way to describe it. Got nice little music routines. And then the same author, Edward, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his last name right, Sio, something like that, also did Wizard's Quest, which is more of a top view, going through a dungeon and gathering stuff and fighting monsters and things. So
send you to the
these are PAL based, so no artifact colors here, at least not on purpose. Now this one has pretty good isometric graphics, and this actually there's versions of this type of game and this type of engine on some of the other machines from the UK at the time, like the Spectrum, etc. But well detailed graphics, but a viciously hard game to play from what I remember. I don't know if anybody here on the panel has actually played this one before, but if you want an exercise in frustration, it's a good one to pick. There you go, Ken. And then Wizard's Quest.
You must find and use many items.
He's got some nice detailed graphics. This, like I said, is more of a top view. He's always seems to put in some 4-voice music routines. But the graphics are nicely detailed. This is one of the ones where if you actually turned artifacting on, a lot of the detail would be lost. It turned to color frame. So in this case, it actually would be best to play it on a monochrome monitor or a CM8 or something on a Coco 3 where it kind of forces no artifacting and actually would look better. You're getting a very slight hint of artifacting here, but it's PAL artifacting, so it's not as blatant as it is on TSC. And then the last double pack he did here was a couple of Tom Mix games. So Grabber, I think we've played that on the Game On Challenge before. One of my favorites of all time. It's one of the ones that actually did multi-voice music while you were playing. And an original concept. It's basically collect treasures and put them into the middle slots. At first glance, it looks like a 2-maze Pac-Man, but you jump between the 2 mazes, and you get a little box showing where you're playing in the other maze. And when you hit the joystick button, you switch. So you have to monitor monsters in both mazes simultaneously. So it's a really good concentration game. And of course, some of the monsters will go and pick up the treasures you've got and take them out elsewhere. And you have to get all 8 into the centerpieces to get onto the next level. And there's multiple mazes as you go through. So it's one of my favorites. They do PMO 3 graphics in here. Alcatraz 2 is actually Mike Huey. It's his first Coco release game, I believe. He's the same guy who did Grabber. He did Draconian as well, but it's written in BASIC. And it's one of the earlier ones where you could actually sell BASIC games, back in the day. Whereas that, and the Coco, I think that only really lasted until about 83, 84. And then unless you were doing like adventure games or something like that, you pretty well needed to have an ML game to get properly into the market type thing. So this is one of the ones. It was released by Spectral originally in the States and Canada, but it was a pretty interesting, cool concept. It's a little slow, but it was like early days for Mike. He was just kind of learning things, and then by the time you bought a Grabber a year or two later, it was like, holy cow, did he improve? And then Draconian's even better yet. So I'll play a couple clips of those.
Time. Sounds easy.
So you can see here, once again, he's switching to PMO 3 graphics mode,
and you could avoid
mainly because it shows up in color. And this one, it actually works for the most part. There's a little bit of fraying, or not fraying, but because of the way the color is set up for artifacting, you can notice like the box in the bottom here has kind of got this little pattern on the right side instead of a line. That's just because of the way the bit patterns work, switching from a artifact game to the regular. But it's fully playable. And then Alcatraz, for those of you not seen it, Alcatraz 2, I should say. I don't think there ever was an Alcatraz 1. And this one, you're trying to escape the Alcatraz prison, basically, and you've got guards coming after you. So you're the green player in the upper left in this case. And then the 2 yellow guards go through there, and they can shoot at you and stuff. But there's also doors that keep turning on and off. And if you take too long level, I think it shoots out something at you too, if I remember correctly. So you kind of have to like dodge being inside of the guards because they'll track you once they see you, but you can also manipulate the doors to block them off and try to get around to the escape route. So it's actually a fun little game. It first looks like an adventure game, but it's more of a strategy arcade game, I guess, though it's a little slow and basic. I'll just play it for a little bit, just show you what the speed's like. So it's all just using extended basic commands for drawing everything. This is a concept I think that could be taken into higher res and add some more elements to it in a machine language game. It'd actually be kind of cool because it's kind of original. Next up, the Dragon got some love in the games category this week too. So this is RetroGamesTrove.com, and they basically do reviews of games. In this case, they're reviewing a game called Ring of Darkness, which originally came out in the Dragon 32 first in 82. The next year, it got a port to the Spectrum, and then I think in 85, it got a port to the Amstrad CPC. So there's a bit of the artwork for it. So this is one of the ones that started on the Dragon, got ported to the other UK platforms afterwards. Now, unfortunately, all the screenshots they've got here, except for one, is from the Spectrum version. And it's basically a complete rip-off clone of Ultima 1, the original Basic 09 with a couple, basic program with a couple of ML subroutines. And for those of you who played the original Ultima 1, because I know they've done a revised version that has been, if you buy one of the treasure or the packs that contain all the old Ultimas in it, they come with the new version. I remember this here. This is one of the town maps. It doesn't scroll like the later ones do. That's the entire town you're looking at there. And these were actually all done with basic. And I remember when we finally broke the copy protection, you could actually hit Control-C and, pump up your food and your magic points and whatever else from within this section here. So it was fun. But if you remember the Ultima 1 map, I mean, this is almost identical. Like it's not just based on, it's like a clone of type thing. So this is the Spectral version. There's the standard stuff. Here's one of the Dragon screenshots they have from the original version. I'm kind of explaining what the purpose of the game is. And then one thing I liked about this, he did it old school. He did it no on-screen maps, no cheating and writing code to interpret the maps. He actually mapped everything on graph paper in color, which is something I didn't bother doing back in the day. So water's blue, trees are green, type of thing. And figuring out the entire map as you go. And I remember doing this. I think Ken Waters, I showed you some of my original Gates of Delirium maps that I dug out of the archives here. That you had the online maps that are on my site now, but. Yeah, I remember doing this constantly. I bought books of graph paper for these stupid games. And then just showing some of the outside stuff here. Mapping the dungeons themselves, where the doors are, where the treasure chests are. Anyway, it's a very thorough review. The 3D inside the dungeon thing. This is based on the original Calibeth engine that Garriott did before Ultima came out. This, I can't remember if the Apple II version, Mark, you can correct me if I'm wrong in this, Mark Overholzer, because you might know. I know the original Calibeth, when you had monsters on the screen, it kept drawing the dungeon behind it, and it'd be kind of see-through graphics. Whereas on Ultima 1,
so.
On Ultima 1, I think he changed it so that if you have a monster, it only draws the walls up until the plane where the monster is, and didn't bother drawing it, so you didn't get that weird see-through effect. I can't remember if the original Apple version did that or not.
I don't recall. I'd have to go back and look. I remember seeing it a few times, but I didn't play it a lot.
So, like, this is more what it would look like back in the day, except you'd see all the monsters going through the distance. You can see through everything and see as far as you can. Whereas this actually kind of gave it so the monster's blocking your view, which I thought was actually better, because if there's another monster behind it, you don't know. It kind of surprises
Also
you.
less visually confusing too.
Yeah, exactly. The giant frog is what I used to call that back in the day. I didn't even know it was called the Gorgon. But very, very thorough review. And if you've ever played the original Ultima, you'll recognize a lot of this stuff, even though this is technically not Ultima. And I don't know if this was because maybe at that time, because I think that back then it was still Origin Systems that published Ultima, wasn't it? Before.
Originally, he actually published them through, I believe it was California Computer Systems, I think. So there's some very, very old version. Yeah, and then it was switched over to Origin.
Because I'm guessing at this point, this is totally guesswork on my part, I don't know for sure, but I believe that because he was selling stuff to the North American audience, I don't think he really thought of the European market that early on. So there was no version of Ultima for all the various UK or European systems, and I think that's why this was a clone.
Originally, Apple didn't even kind of hit the European market. Actually, who was it? ITT or something? They had something called the 2020, which was kind of like a licensed Apple II, but it wasn't quite the same hardware. It had like 9 bits instead of 8 bits for memory. It's kind of weird, and then eventually they started making European apples. But yeah, early on there really wasn't much of a market. The Apple was so expensive, it just wasn't. I mean, it's expensive for the American market, let alone Europe.
Yeah. Now, by the time this came out in 82 originally on the Dragon, 83 on the Spectrum, 85 on the Amstrad. I'm sure Apple was on sale in Europe by then, wouldn't they?
Yeah, they had Apple Ireland was up and they were making stuff. Definitely the Apple IIes at that point were made for them. But yeah. By 83,
but I'm guessing the
Apple
software
IIs
companies in the States probably didn't extend to that market that early. Yeah. So
yeah, I'm sure they were lagging. So
hey, if you're a fan of the Ultima style games, which we have some Coco clones like Seventh Link and Gates of Delirium and Paladin's Legacy, it's along that style of game. It's definitely one that if it's a game thing I miss, because this is like Dungeons and Dragons that you can play single player, you don't need a DM, etc. And these games last for weeks, months. Like they're complicated, huge maps, tons of having to kill a bunch of things to level up, etc. Which were fun in the day, but nobody has the time nor the mental capacity, I guess, to handle games this long anymore. So you don't ever see them anymore, which I kind of miss. And I'm kind of glad Ken was doing his little series of playing Gates of Delirium. Ken, is that something you're planning on finishing, or have you kind of burned yourself out on that genre too?
I do plan on finishing it, but yeah, being out here, I can't really do my Twitch streams. So,
well, that's right. Yeah, you were live streaming all those too. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Anyway, really good review of it, and one of those rare cases where the original version was on the Dragon first, then it got ported to some of the more popular UK machines afterwards. So definitely worth a read if you're into that type of game. And the last game-specific one here, it's kind of game-related, not totally, but Retro Radar column, written by Ian Lee, did a reminiscence of the Dragon that he got when he was a kid. And he mentions, now I don't know if the States was the same as this. I know up here in my part of Canada, it definitely was in the early 80s, where basically on weekends, Sunday, everything was shut down. I mean, you couldn't do anything. There was nothing open to do. So kids got really bored. Unless they were outdoor style kids. Of course, they go out and play sports and stuff. I was not. I was one of those pale ghost white sheet style, lock yourself indoors in the basement type thing. So what do you do on a Sunday when nothing else is open? Like you can't go do anything else type thing. And so this guy published it, and he was mentioning when he got the Dragon, well, then there was all kinds of things to do. There's a quote there, Sundays were the worst, everything was shut. This is not an exaggeration. And like here, like even some grocery stores and stuff were shut on Sundays. Like you need food on Sunday, you better have planned it earlier. You're just going to starve type thing. And I mean, gradually that's all changed now. Now almost everything's open. Now in the States for you guys, especially the older ones that were around in the early 80s, was that the same situation in the States that everything was closed on Sundays? Or was that something more unique to Europe and Canada?
No, Texas was like that. You might find a convenience store open, but real grocery stores, not so much.
Like
yeah, and any entertainment stuff was closed too, right?
Exactly. Sunday was a slow day in my childhood.
Okay. So I mean, he talks about using the Dragon. Now you have something to do on Sundays. You can program, you can play games, you can do all kinds of things. And I experienced that myself. So that kind of hit home with me when I read this article. So thanks to Chris Poacher of the Microdeal Facebook page for pointing that out to us and putting a copy of it up on the Dragon group on Facebook so people could read the one-page little spiel on it. And I think it sums up quite well at the very end here, because he talks about you basically do things on Sunday. And he even talks about having to share bathwater with his siblings there because they had the once a week bath back in the day. And he said then it was a cheese sandwich, bully in bed, and then the dread of going back to school. Dear God, what a miserable time. Thank you, Dragon32, for saving my sanity and giving me some purpose. I don't think I'd quite go that far myself, but not far off, to be honest. So before I go on to the regular news here, does anybody else have recollections of this type of situation where basically everything in your town was shut down on the weekend, and then you thank God when you finally got a computer, whether it was a Coco or a Dragon or Apple or whatever it was, that all of a sudden now you actually had stuff to do on the weekend?
Yes.
Right. And don't forget the TV shut off right after the 10:30 news was done.
Well, actually, he was talking about that. You had to get permission from the parents. Can I use the TV now? Because they might have some program like, I don't know, Coronation Street or something they wanted to watch or whatever it was. So,
right. Well, no, that was my great time because TV shut off at 10:30. When the 10 o'clock news was done, there was nothing more on TV. So I could do anything I wanted with the TV. It was mine the rest of the night.
Yeah, from the sounds of it in here, he wasn't allowed to do that. He had to actually use it during the day. They wouldn't let him stay up late on it. And basically, he had to ask permission to make sure there was nothing like no sports on or anything else that the parents would want to watch type thing. And then you'd have to share that TV. I do remember a bit of that. In my case, we had a big, wood grain floor mount TV downstairs. And, I had to pick and choose the times that I knew there wasn't something that everybody else wanted to watch because my other siblings weren't that interested in the computer off the start. It was just me out of 5 people in the house. And, I definitely had to take my turn. And then eventually I picked up a smaller TV later on, that little color one that I ended up using in my own room. And then I got to use it all the time. And then I'd work on the BBS till like 4 a.m. and then try to wake up for school. Didn't work too well. Anyway, that's it for the game on news. So I will switch to the regular. Okay, first up, so this month's Coco Crew episode number 86 dropped, which has a a review by Neil of the Wild West. It's a graphic adventure game, one of the first Coco 3 graphic adventure games by Novasoft, which is the cheap subsidiary for Tom Nick's cheaper games. And that's a fairly rare one, and it's a really hard one. I don't remember ever winning that one myself, so that was interesting. And they have a host discussion on who are our listeners, which for any of those interested, I'll let you listen to that. And if you want to send some feedback on that, you can. Next up, Alan Huffman's been busy with a couple of blogs here. And like Jim Gary, he did an update to a blog earlier, so I had to quickly repair the link because the link name changed. But he's basically got 2 part 2s going here. So the first one here is part 2 in color basic RAM hooks. I think we covered this a week or 2 ago. And this one, he actually does an actual program patch to the console out, which is basically printing, that forces any lowercase output to uppercase, but leaving the input alone. So if you typed in something on an input or line input command in lowercase, it'll force it to come up on the screen as uppercase. So if you have a non T1 VDG or non Coco 3, the inverse video would basically shut off and it'd come up normally. So he kind of teaches you how to use one of these hooks. So he's got a little semi-language source code program here that basically just checks to see, is it a letter? Yes. Is it lowercase? Yes. Then flip it to uppercase. And then he's got a little basic program to kind of show you demoing the little print hook, explains how it works, etc. here. I don't know if he has a screenshot. I guess not. Anyway, it's a good way to teach you how the RAM hooks work. In the previous article, he mentioned about 20 or 30 different RAM hooks that are built into Microsoft Basic. And this is how Microsoft extended the Basic. So Color Basic had all these hooks. Some of them weren't even used. Some of them were just empty and kind of just did a return. Later on, all the way up through Disk Basic or Super Extended Basic, you can actually have it. So it take the previous ROM version, like, from Disk Basic down to Extended Basic down to Color Basic, etc., and keep copying those hooks so that you could, jump into those routines after you check to see if your new hook needed to do anything with whatever the guy was trying to do, programmer. And then once it would go through and say, okay, this is not what I have to deal with, it would pass it on to the next ROM and just keep cascading down. So you could keep expanding BASIC. And quite a few articles in Rainbow and Color Computer News and Hot Cocoa, etc., actually did extensions to BASIC using this exact technique to hook in new features to print commands and IO commands and stuff. The one they mentioned on his first article was that originally Color BASIC only had print numbers 0, 1, and 2. -2, -1, and 0 for the printer, cassette, and the screen. And later they added on -3 for deload, which was for loading off that Network 2 controller that Radio Shack put out. And then 1 through 15 for disk IO buffers once you added disk BASIC. So there's a ton of stuff that was added. And it was a pretty nice way because it made BASIC extensible. You didn't have to replace it. All the ROM chips. You could leave the original Color BASIC, add an extended BASIC chip. It would just kind of merge in together and add in the hooks. Add disk BASIC later on. Add Coco 3 BASIC, which was more microware, but same situation. So it was a nice way to extend BASIC. So good article on that. Second one. Now this one here, he posted an original part 2 of this, and this is using if, and, or, then versus if, then, if. And he was trying to figure out, you can do like cascading ifs, if then statements. Now, if you use like if whatever condition and whatever condition and whatever condition, it actually has to process every single one of those in a row to figure out all the and things. And you can also just do if then else type thing, or if then if. And he was trying to figure out which ways would save the most memory and which ways would save some speed. And William Astle, creator of LW Tools, LWSM, etc., actually put in a comment, which is why he updated the article. And kind of goes through here. And actually, one nice thing was pointed out to him was that John D on the Coco Discord actually mentioned that using if, then, if is something that actually the Coco 2 version of the extended color basic command, getting started with extended color basic, actually used that type of technique in one of their examples. And I don't remember this example being in the original color basic and extended basic for the Coco 1, where there were 2 separate books. So I'm going to have to go back and check that to see if I'm just remembering it wrong. But he actually found an example in the actual manual. Anyway, it goes through and it kind of goes through and checks these here and then starts figuring out which one runs fast, which one runs slower. So here he ran one with if, then, if, then, if. 324, and then separate ones here with the going to line numbers, a little bit slower. And here doing some not equals too, so it's basically letting it fall through on an equals. And this actually worked faster in this particular case. And then, incorporating some Williams comments here too. Anyway, Alan's been doing a lot of these over the last year or so, where he's been really looking into the internals of how BASIC itself works. He's done stuff on variables and, the var pointer command, arrays, all kinds of things. So if you really want to dig deep into how BASIC works and also which ways of doing things runs the best, runs the fastest, he's been working on a lot of those optimization things too. And there's a lot of cool techniques he's come in there that I had never thought of myself. And I mean, some of them, if I remember correctly, he's been getting some speed ups like of up to 5 to 10% on certain types of things that you can shift around from what you would normally just do out of reflex or from looking at the manuals. So if you're trying to write the most optimized BASIC programs, like for Microsoft BASIC, his various series of articles on this are actually a really good read, because you can actually speed up some of your BASIC programs quite noticeably without incorporating any machine language routines at all. So it's a great service I think he's doing to the BASIC community and on the Coco, going through all this kind of stuff. And there's a lot of research he has to do and a lot of experimentation. So it's not exactly like a quick, I can flip this off in 5 minutes type thing. It's a lot of research. So thank you, Alan, for doing all of this. Now this one here, this is from Paul Fiscarelli. And this is an Adrian's Digital Basement video. And it's basically one of his mail call videos. So he's showing a bunch of stuff. Now, Paul actually has been fiddling around with some of the SWTPC computers. Now, that's something that Mikey's mentioned too. He's been actually fiddling around with the name and stuff too. And that's an older 6800 based in the original form computer from like the 70s, late 70s. So this is pre-Coco. And there was talk about the fact that the SWTPC 6800 used to have a sound card back in the day. And what Paul Fiscarelli did is he actually sent a kit of all the pieces needed to make one to Adrian to actually put together and put into his old technical system consultants. I think that's what TSC stands for.
Southwest Technical Products.
Sorry. Thank you. I was trying to rip it right off memory there, and obviously my memory sucks. Anyway.
That happens.
Yeah. And there was OS9 machines from them too. I do remember that. So basically what he does is he sends this in, and then Adrian kind of goes through, and I'll play the little clip of the video. This is a 40-minute video of all kinds of mail stuff. I'm only going to play the first part, which is from Paul. But it's actually based on the Coco's 6-bit DAC and the way that works. So this actually gives you some volume control and be able to do better sound waves instead of just square waves, etc. And then Paul went the extra mile and actually sent a little Coco demo, and apparently Adrian is going to be getting back into the Coco in the future too. So I'll play the first couple minutes of this here, which will kind of cover the SWTPC soundboard that Paul sent, as well as his little tribute to Adrian's basement, I guess, done on a Coco. So we'll play that.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Adrian's Digital Basement 2 Super Mini Mail Call. I'm opening packages here that I got back in May, and it's currently July, so sorry about that. Oh, let me see who this is from. This one's from Paul in Kingston, New Hampshire. Hi to all my viewers in New Hampshire. Let's see what this is. Looks like a kit of some kind. Ah, yes, I remember what this is. This is for the Southwest Technical PC. Here's the kit for the NewTek Model 68 music board Rev B. It's fairly straightforward to assemble, with all the included parts labeled on both the PCB as well as the components themselves. During assembly, you have a few things to keep in mind. Resistor ladders, blah, blah, blah. I've sent high-resolution photos of the fully assembled board to your email as a guide, but feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Take care, Paul. Right, so what this is, Southwest Technical Products Corporation, that was the 1975 machine I have that is a 6800 processor in there. That's the precursor to the 6502. And well, it turns out, wow, this is an amazing kit, wow. As it turns out, there was a soundboard for this at some point. Now, I don't remember all the specifics, but I think Paul said that this was based off the sound circuitry in the TRS-80 Coco, the color computer. Also a 6809 base system. Similar architecture, of course, to the 6800 and the Southwest Technical Products Corporation machine. Now, the thing about the Coco is it has a 6-bit DAC, digital analog converter. It uses a resistor ladder network, and it's connected to one of the VIA chips, which is like a 6522, I think is what it is in there. And what software can do is using some really quick computation and some lookup tables.
6822, should say.
Yeah.
Is it can create
6522 is very similar.
That actually has proper sine waves and sounds really good. Not just the typical square wave stuff that you'd get with like a beep speaker. Now, if you watched my Coco 1 repair video I recently did, I actually tested out a piece of software that played like some Christmas music, and it sounded really nice. 2 channels. Sounded like it was sine wave based, so it's probably using that resistor ladder network to work.
Oh, and just a small interruption here while editing. Back when I was working on the Coco 1, Paul was actually helping me with that because he's got a lot of knowledge about the TRS-80 Coco 1 as well, and he created an 8-bit dance party intro with music for me using these same music routines that are used on this sound card here for the Southwest Technical Products PC. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I didn't get time to show it in the video, but I will next time I work on the Coco.
Taking a look at the PCB here, there's the copyright date from Paul, and then the original board design is from 1977. The Coco came out, I think, in 1979, so clearly the design of this was not copied from the Coco. But the Coco did have that 6-bit DAC, so maybe some of the routines that were from that could have been adapted to work on this board, the original 77 design. So Paul has included the ICs here for it, and you can see that there's a couple 74LS logic chips and an LM something or other that's probably like an op amp or whatever. And then all the other parts are nicely laid out. The board is relatively easy to assemble, and because it's for the 6800 PC, has these Molex connectors, and this is a smaller card with a 30-pin connector, so it goes into the I/O mapped slots in the back of the computer, which when I say I/O mapped, each slot is addressed by specific memory locations, and that's exactly like on the Apple II. Unlike the ISA bus on the PC, where slots don't matter. You can put cards into any slot, and they work based on jumpers on the card. But on the Apple II, like the disk controller, you typically put it in slot 6. If you move it to slot 5, then you have to talk to that card with a different command, PR number 5. And that's because it is all memory address mapped to each slot. That's exactly how this machine works. Now, I am not going to build this up right now because the 6800 PC is put away and I can't really do testing anyways. But I will link to a video that Paul put online of this card operating, and it's pretty amazing to hear it work. It sounds really good for a 1977 machine.
And we'll bring in the amplified sound.
And keep in mind, of course, this type of hardware is like bit-banged audio, you want to call it. It requires the CPU to do all the work. So generally, you're not going to be using this kind of sound in a game while other things are happening. The computer pretty much has to sit there and play the music full time. And that's exactly like the Coco 1 machine as well. It's not like it, well, typically you can't multitask and have that really nice sounding audio at the same time. It pauses, it plays the music, maybe there's enough time for you to like press a key to like stop the music, stuff like that. I think at this point from Super Mini Mail Calls, I have quite a few kits and stuff that I need to build up. So yeah, this is gonna go into the little pile of other things to build. I probably have 5 or 6 other kits that I need to put together at the minimum. I would like to definitely build up some of those kits. It's just, yeah, I don't always have the time, just due to time constraints of making the channel and everything. So thank you very much, Paul, for sending this in. And as I said, I will link to the video of this operating, and I definitely will show this at a future time. I love the 6800 PC. I want to explore it more, and having some sound output from it will be pretty amazing. Oh, one caveat, by the way, about this. I'm pretty sure because the code that everyone is using to drive this card came from the TRS-80 Coco, it's 6809 optimized code. And I think Paul told me in the email that there's currently no 6800 code out there to drive this properly. So I think he said he was going to try to adapt it for me. And he may have already done that and I might have missed his email. And incidentally, the way this works could work on other machines like the Apple II as well. It could be a good way to bit bang some audio on the Apple II. And I think there are already PET solutions that work very much like this. It uses the user port. And actually, you know, the funny thing is about this is using that DAC resistor ladder. Well, you could use a simple parallel DAC. It's like a little IC that just takes the bits in and I think a clock signal, and then it outputs an analog signal, and it eliminates the need for all those resistors that these early solutions like this used. Anyhow, thank you very much, Paul, for sending in the sound card for the 6800 PC. This will be seen on the channel at a future time.
Yeah, and he also mentioned that he's working on another Coco video too. So I guess Nick might argue there are some techniques you can use, at least on the Coco, to get around getting multi-voice music at the same time you're doing graphics. It takes some pretty good timing. I'm using a technique that both Nick and Simon have done where you overflow the H-sync. Basically, you time the code for playing the music to take just over one H-sync cycle, and then you have the remainder of the second H-sync cycle to do graphics. Because if you do the IRQ on it, normally it's just too fast. You have almost no time to do anything at all in between. So you're spending so much time servicing the IRQ and pushing registers and pulling registers off the stack type thing. But that technique actually lets you get almost half the CPU time for doing graphics and AI and everything else, gameplay, and then just over half for the music. So Nick, I think Pipes use that, and I think your Jumping Joey's using that technique as well, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it works fairly well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't do like a full screen scrolling arcade action game, I think, with that technique, because it'd be a bit too slow.
No, and the sound quality tends to be fixed at around 7 kilohertz, 7.5.
Yeah, so like lower tones would sound better than higher tones, for example.
Yeah, so you don't have a great variation, but you know, you just use what you can get.
Yeah, because in Jumping Joey, you actually are doing some screen scrolling, and I know you're using some stack busting techniques in there, but it actually, I think, to both of our surprise, when you initially proposed it, I think it's actually running better than I was expecting.
Yeah, me too. I'm surprised as well. I only started the thing thinking, oh, look, this isn't going to work, so I'll just try it, see if it works. If it doesn't, nothing lost. Well, it worked, and I'm still going on it.
So A couple weeks ago, Nick, you were talking about the Orchestra 90 and the possibility of a 4-channel version. Have you looked at that software or something? You have
No,
some
not
ideas
yet.
there?
No, that's one of my many sideline ideas, which I haven't had time for.
The hardware's kind of a doddle. They did some weird decoding for various reasons, but I was just wondering because, yeah, more sound would be fun.
Yeah, and really, the Orchestra 90 is exactly what this video that we just played is. It's just a resistor
Just two of them.
ladder, whatever. So, and it's got two of them. One for the Orchestra 90 is a stereo card, so it's got two of those resistor ladders. But the chip that decodes it actually has 8 decoding lines.
Well,
so
it
really,
does. Let me see if I can do this on the screen real quick. I'm sorry to derail your news.
Yeah, no, far away.
No, I'll stop sharing and let you share here. So
let me see if I can make this show the screen that I want it to show.
Can we get David
C
to say
monitor,
Orchestra 90?
please. B monitor. I can do Inception.
just
I
wait,
can't
Rick. That we
get
got to
this
wait for
work.
Mark B to switch over to the view for you.
Here, I'll just
What?
throw it in front of my face. You see if you can see this. Tell me if you ever see this.
We see a black screen right now.
Oh, really? Let's switch back to
Turn the lights on. There you go.
Okay. We have. Oh, this is my face. I want my screen. My thing is.
I prefer the black screen.
Here we go. I can throw the screen. So this is why it was decoded so weirdly. They wanted to get, and Orchestra 90 doesn't use any of this, but they got software interrupt 1 both bytes and reset both bytes decoded with the cheapest hardware that could possibly be used, and still got these 2 DACs in. Yeah. If we were making some kind of better hardware, we would abandon this stuff that isn't used anyway and just put 4 in a row, and it would be easy to do. But then somebody has to make the ROM software understand 4 voices.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
So that was the whole. Anyway, I just thought it was interesting. I had to have a look at it, and yeah, it could. Interesting things could happen there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it gives you better fidelity too, because it's an 8-bit sound, whereas the
8-bit,
DAC normally uses
yeah.
only 6. So you got 256 volume levels to work with, and the fact that you're not muxing it on a PIA with a bunch of other crap, so you have to keep switching between. I want to read a joystick, no, I want to do sound, type thing, or read the keyboard. This is just you can just straight store it and go, so you can actually cut your overhead down, even doing higher fidelity sound. So I mean, while it's not a background sound chip, that runs on its own like a sound speech pack or some of the modern ones do, it still would actually give you better quality sound with less CPU time than it currently does. Now with the 4-voice version, you might, it might take a bit of extra CPU time, so it'd be about as what you're doing now. But now you've got like quadraphonic if you wanted to, or 4 voices mixed on mono.
Or you just do the Amiga just takes 2 of them, puts them to the left, and the other 2 to the right. So you could still have stereo, but 4 channels in 2 plus 2.
Yeah, and you don't have to like mix them in software. It would just be straight out to the
no
port
mixing.
system.
And you don't.
Because right now, if you want every voice you want to do, you have to add them together and then divide by that amount. So you can do like 2 or 4.
There is a
whatever.
distortion. There is a bit of a loss. This will avoid the loss.
Yeah, plus the extra CPU time to do the add.
Yeah, a little
logical
bit
shift,
extra.
logical shift type thing. So, and then the PIA crap on top of it. So this would just be like load D, store D, load D, store D, or load Q, store Q. If you got a 6809, you're done.
Better still would be to have a separate controller on the board, on the cartridge, say, and its own RAM, so you can upload the waves and get the CPU to play to the DACs. But then, that's adding cost to it. So
yeah, well, 16 just added 2 in the chat. He said now add DMA to get data to those 4 channels, which is exactly what the Amiga does.
Well,
that's
put a
right.
6809 on the card. Yeah.
Well, that's what Jim Brain was proposing. He has his dual 6809 card, or 639 in his case, with its own onboard RAM, 512K per, I think, or something like that. That you could just send all the samples and the music and stuff to it, and then you let those chips run it. And there were 3 megahertz 639s.
Because chips are cheap, so run the ROM code on the card and don't bother your CPU with it, right?
Well, Jim Brain's Orchestra 90 card is programmed on a single CPLD. That's what he does with his orchestra card. So really, he could just, I'm assuming he could also reprogram it so that it is 4 channels, and a 4-channel Orchestra 90 with 1 CPLD.
Yeah.
So that'd be low cost. Anyway.
This and more on this week's feature creep segment.
Yeah, so many ideas, so little time.
Exactly.
Not enough silicon.
I understand, Nick, completely. Okay, next
Should've
up, our. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, should have picked a deader computer.
Yeah. Okay, so next up, Retro Rewind is going to be attending the World of Retro Computing Expo, August 28th. So that's coming up at the end of the month here in Kitchener, Ontario. And he mentioned to me, I mean, he goes to this every year, and of course he does the standard Amiga stuff and Commodore stuff that he's more famous for. But this time he's actually bringing a Coco out to have on display for people to try. And of course he does 609 upgrades. He's got the Coco SDC that he makes. He's got the diagnostic ROM cartridge. So if you want to talk to Frank in person, and of course he's going to be our guest on the 17th of September as well. Feel free to go, especially if you're in Canada, to go check it out. And from what I understand, I've never been to this particular one, but this is a fairly large scale show as well, I believe. Has anybody on the panel been to this one before? Nope. Okay.
Crickets.
I've heard of Kitchener.
I've heard of Ontario.
The town or the province?
Both.
Yeah, because there's an Ontario near you, I think, if I remember correctly.
There's an Ontario in California. There's even one in Ohio.
Okay, next up, Carl England, one of Alan Huffman's favorite programmers. Now, he's written a whole ton of utilities, especially disk-based utilities. So this is for David Ladd in the past, for real floppies back in the late 80s, early 90s, et cetera. And he's recently gotten a Coco SDC, and he's been rewriting some of his utilities to be able to handle both real floppies and the SDC. And as he mentions in this post in the Coco group on Facebook, and I'll just direct quote him here, for the audio listeners. Well, I put a lot of work into updating my file copying utility so that I can navigate SDC DOS. It looks like it's 99% complete and no longer seems to have any bugs that crash my computer and corrupt disk files. So functions include selectable number of tracks from 18 to 80, format a disk, real floppy disk on a Coco faster than Disk Basic does. Virtual disk is pretty well instantaneous, so it doesn't really help there speed-wise. Option to install Superboot on freshly formatted and created disks. Now, if I remember correctly, Superboot allows you to actually boot up any program you want. It can be basic just from typing the DOS command, so you have that option as well. Simple file rename, simple file deletion, disk backup that's faster than Disk Basics. Switch between real and virtual floppies. SDC directory navigation, you can select directories and mount disk images all from this little utility. Create new directories and new disk images. And file copying. Now, one of the nice things about the file copying for his utility is that most of the other ones I've seen for the Coco is usually I pick a file, what drive do you want it to go to type thing. His actually lets you do multiple files, selectable, like not just back up the entire disk or back up this file. If you only have 6 files out of 15 you want to back up, you can actually select all 6 in one shot and then just tell it to copy, and it'll copy just the 6 over, which is actually quite convenient. So at any rate, he's currently writing the documentation for it. I don't think it's actually uploaded yet, but it should be fairly soon, unless he finds some last-minute showstopper bugs. So look forward to that utility. And the fact that it works on both real floppies and SDC means any of us, including myself, that is trying to transfer a bunch of stuff off of real floppies onto SDC disk images, you'll be able to do all of that within this utility here and faster than you would normally on a regular system and easier to use. So looking forward to that. And speaking of disk utilities, Richard Kelly has put up one called Easy Directory version 1.9a. So this fixes the last bugs and speeds up a few things. And this is a program launcher, I guess, that's written in BASIC itself. So, I mean, you can just edit it and change it and customize as much as you want. And basically, it's based on some magazine article ones he did years ago, but he's added to it, sped it up, etc. And basically lets you, select basic or binary programs and run them right from there. It's kind of like the SDC Explorer, except it's done in BASIC. So, I mean, if you already have an SDC with an SDC Explorer, you would use that instead. But in this case here, this will work on real floppies, doesn't need an SDC. And it's also written in BASIC, so it's much easier for modification. and not requiring the STC itself. So that's available for download in the Coco Facebook group. Next up for the MC10, Simon Jonathan put this up in the MC10 group on Facebook. Is anybody interested in the LZ or LZSS compression for the MC10? Because he has a working compressor decompressor. Now, if I remember, and Mark Overholz, I think you are aware of this one too, because it's a cross-platform compression routine, but it's known for being a very small binary to do the decompression. Like the entire program takes less than 256 bytes or something like that.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I think it's on 60.2 also.
Yeah, it's on multiple platforms when I remember, multiple chips. So it does really good, decent compression, and it's fairly fast decompression, really low memory footprint. In fact, if I remember correctly, isn't this the one that Glenn Hewlett uses on his decompressing for like Defender and the Joust transcodes?
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah. Now, the compression program that Simon has here is written in C, so it's meant to be cross-platform. You'd run this on a PC or a Mac or a Linux box or whatever and create the compression version of the data. But then on the MC10, this little tiny program that's only a couple hundred bytes long would do the decompression in RAM. So you could load in like a 16K chunk of data for your game graphics or code or whatever it is, and it would compress it down to like a quarter that size. So it would load a lot faster and not require, tapes and stuff being extra length, etc. And then decompress it in memory on the fly, and then you've got the entire thing loaded that much faster. I know, like I mentioned before, Glenn Hewlett uses it to fit some of his transcodes onto a single disk or just a double disk, when normally it would have taken like 3 or 4 of them to do it with raw binary data. So in this case, Simon's got the routines working. He's got the C code to create the compressed format. He's got the MC10 6803 code to do the decompression. But he's just kind of gauging, like, is there a lot of interest in this here? So he's kind of just asking, like, how many people would like it. And he said he can post it either in the MC10 group or as a private message to whoever requests it. I would put it up in the group because, I mean, people could come and find this a year later and, not know the background of where to get it, et cetera. And you might as well just have it available, I think. Because then if it's available for everybody easily, I think more people would use it. And you could do stuff like, tape loaders. You could even load in, like, your splash screen and stuff compressed so it, comes up way faster than watching it draw across at 1500 baud. So I think it definitely has some use just to put it up, as it is with the C compressor to do it cross-platform. Okay, next up, Mike Miller in the Dragon group posted up the Dragon DOS version of a port of Robert Galt's Coco disk drive RPM, rotations per minute checker. Your standard drives for the Coco and the Dragon should be running at 300 RPM, ideally in between about 296, 297 to 302, 303, somewhere around there. Is the optimum. If you get too far out of spec, you'll start having problems reading other people's discs or even standard ones for the Coco that you might have bought, from Radio Shack back in the day or whatever. So it makes it, more compatible. I mean, the things you really got to worry about using real floppy drives these days is to make sure the heads are clean, it's in alignment, and the speed's right. And the speed's one of the few things that the non-soldering types like me can actually handle, because it's usually just a little flat screw or something. I have a little screwdriver, you can kind of adjust it. But basically, you run this program and you'll get to see what the actual RPMs are. The OS9 level 1 disk and level 2 disk actually has this built in too. But for the Dragon, running natively under Dragon DOS, because Dragon DOS is the one thing in the Dragon that's completely different than the Coco version. In fact, it's a much better DOS than the Coco version, to be honest. So if they have a native one there, you can actually make sure that your Dragon drives are running at the proper speed. That's available for download in the Dragon group on Facebook. And the last one here, this is a bit of good news, and it's kind of following what Eddie Zerbinski said earlier, where he's currently cancer-free. John Whitworth, who, of course, ran Dragon Plus Electronics and does the Super Sprite FM Plus board and a ton of other Dragon-related hardware projects. And he kind of had to shut everything down because he's going through leukemia treatments as well. And apparently his are going fairly well because he's actually reopened Dragon Plus Electronics now for business. I'm getting some ghosting from something. Somebody's echoing.
Maybe me. Sorry.
Yeah, it was. Thanks. So basically, he's reopened this shop. Now, he's changed the webpage a little bit. The original version of the webpage, because he was expected to keep doing orders as he got enough orders in, he'd list everything that he possibly could make on the site, and it would say you've got some in stock or you're out of stock, and then it would just expected that if it's out of stock, he'll restock it as he gets enough orders in. After his current round of treatment, that in fact he's opened up the site, and he's doing well on his treatment so far. But I don't think he wants to commit to doing that because he's not totally done yet, and he wants to make sure that he's in full remission before he tries to do this. So he's changed the website so we'll only list stuff that's in stock, so you don't waste your time trying to get him to make stuff that he's not sure if he can get to at this point. So basically everything on his site will be what's in stock, and it will be a kind of reduced size, but at least you know it's there. So it's great to hear that he's doing well enough that he's actually opened the store again, because he really did not think that was going to happen. So congratulations to John on opening the site. Congratulations on the treatments working, and I hope they continue to work. And that's it for the news this week.
Okay, I just got a message from Mikey that he's in the consignment line now.
No.
That's right. I decided that I should show you guys, so I just got in the end of this line, and if you don't mind, when I actually get inside, I'll break in and show you guys what they have for sale.
Cool.
Sounds good.
How long do you think you have?
Whoops, I muted. I have no idea.
It looks like a really long line. I see some people. It looks like they have some books to read there while they're waiting in line.
Well, those books possibly came from over here where we showed it before. I noticed that some books are missing from the last time I came over here.
There's the line. Grab a book.
Did you pack a lunch, Mikey?
I actually ran across the street to Starbucks to get a sandwich. So, all right, I'll let you guys go back to the show, and I'll try to politely break in when I get inside. How's that sound?
Okay.
Sounds good.
Cool.
Agent Mikey out.
All right. Any project updates and acquisitions?
Just the interviews for me, and like I said, there's multiple other ones in the works here that I haven't announced yet until we get the official details.
You can put me on for a minute.
Sure.
I could
It's
share
time for the
something
Ron
too,
Delvaux
but it's
WeFax
not Coco
update.
related.
Okay.
Can't share yet.
Okay, go ahead. Too many buttons to push at once.
Okay. Let's see if that's the right one. We're looking at my page.
Yeah.
All right. I did some more high color screens, as you can see. But what's cool is I discover things now and then, and this one was interesting. Video game crash of 1983. Is anybody familiar with that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I never heard of it before. It says video game crash of 1983, known as the Atari shock in Japan, was a large-scale recession in the video game industry that occurred from 83 to 85, primarily in the United States. Not. What do you know about that?
For a lot of
killed
video
most
game
of the
companies
game
went out.
consoles back then.
Yeah, that's where all the ET things went into the landfill, was kind of due to this crash, or this crash may have been due to them.
Well, you also had, like with the Atari 2600, you had a lot. Anybody can make an Atari 2600 game, and you had a lot of
crap,
garbage.
Yeah, you had a lot of garbage ware. I was going to say games of varying quality, but I like that. I like that better.
Now,
games of no quality is what I would
Games
call
of dubious quality.
Is that what they put on these little reproductions that look like Atari? With little controllers, and they've had 100 some games on them. They're all those bad ones, or what?
No, those are mixed
games. Yeah, now they're real games.
But the biggest thing about the video game crash, I mean, arcades suffered somewhat. But if you take a look at like what video game consoles, like the N televisions, ColecoVisions, et cetera, that were out from 1983 until Nintendo from Japan came into the North American market again in 85, there was basically nothing.
Right.
Like nothing new came out. That's how bad it crashed. Business people figured that the video game craze was over, that was done with, and that's it.
And that's why the original NES, you don't put the cartridge in, you push it in and push it, slide it in and then push it down, so it looked more like a VCR than it did a video game console.
And there's this Lethal Enforcers that I found, a couple of years ago. I had this up, but this runs on a 6309. What did I put on there?
Yeah, I remember reading this was, and it is a 6309.
Yeah.
If not two of them or something, I can't remember.
Yeah, and then if you get a chance, watch this, because this shows the arcade, and it's pretty cool to watch. And it's amazing to see that it's run by a 6309, and then it has a Z80 managing the sound, and another processor for something else. I forget. Anyway.
Now, one thing I'm curious on that, like the 609, I mean, back in that time period, a lot of these hidden features I don't think were known yet. So I don't know if they had inside scoop on and they were using the extra features of the 609, or if they're just using it because A, it's low power and low heat, and 2, it also had a 3 megahertz rated part, whereas Motorola only went to 2, so maybe they needed the extra speed.
Yeah, this here says it was 8 megahertz. See it there?
Wow, that's really overclocked, because the 609 officially maxed at 3, though a lot of people ran at 4 or 5. I've never heard of 8, though.
Yeah, there it is.
That could have been just a typo, though, because I was typing, thought 8 was the normal number.
Yeah, it could be. Yep. Anyway.
And the thing is that game came out in 92. I reckon there's a typo there. I reckon it was meant to be a 68,000 running at 8 megahertz.
Do you think so?
I reckon there's some. Yeah, well, the year 92. By that time, there was more 16-bit stuff than 8-bit.
Yeah.
So I reckon there's a typo there.
Alan Huffman said he thought it could be reproduced. Anyway, the guy that does all the high color stuff that I did,
Sockmaster John Kowalski.
He came up with this years ago, and then I added the red button. Then I added SDC slot.
That's a good idea.
And a
power LED.
And I took the floppy drive out the side. And then I thought maybe that you can't see it, but in the back could be another floppy slot. And then you could even have it so that the keyboard here lifted up, and you can put another cartridge in or something. But anyways, it's just something really cool to look at. It's so clean and nice, and it looks so cool. I mean, it's probably the size of what some of these other machines are.
Like an Atari ST or something.
Yeah. So, and
it doesn't have a real-time clock.
Oh, good. You got room now.
Oh, yeah. Look at how much room there would be in there for extra goodies.
Heck, you could put a clock radio in there at that point.
Right?
A VCR.
Hey, Coco Man.
A coffee warmer. That's what I want.
Yeah.
Coco Man, this is a real-time clock that runs on, it fits in a 28-pin slot. So it's all you need.
Yeah. And then there was this thing. If have you guys, anybody have any idea what this is about? Because it's pretty weird. This is from back in the day before there was internet, evidently. And these 3 people lived in a room, and they would leave their computer on, and somebody would type a message into their computer. And
a time traveler.
Yeah, a time traveler. And they used Old English language to type with. And I think it's a nice story, but impossible to happen. I don't know.
I've been seeing this video pop up over and over and over again. Is it actually interesting enough to watch?
It is actually quite interesting to watch.
Yes.
Very well done.
Okay, I'll have to take a look-see at it.
Yeah, there's actually multiple videos on this particular subject here too, and there's some that kind of go into debunking the time travel stuff, like go into a bit more detail on specifics and stuff than others do.
What would be cool is if they would have had cameras like we have now that you can set up and point it at the machine and just let it sit there and see if something comes up automatically, by itself with nobody pushing on the keyboard. That would be
I
interesting.
think it was his cat typing on the keyboard.
Well, the other interesting thing would be, they never talked about saving the messages off or how much memory was left, or if they ran out of memory, or none of that's mentioned, which is
because it's fake.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Probably.
But what if you could go back in time and have Tandy win?
I've seen that, Joe.
All right. So that just something I run across. And then what else do I have here? I picked up an enclosure and bought a cheap drive, and now I have a terabyte drive in there. That's cool.
On your Coco?
No, it's on my main machine here. It's extra space for pictures. I have thousands and thousands of pictures. Anyways, here's the spaghetti plate that I did the other day. While I was doing stuff like this, Paul Fiscarelli has a program that he uses to make sprites and stuff, and he can also take a picture like this and turning it into 16 level color, and he does a awful nice job of the same thing. I don't know that I think I might have put his picture here. No, I did not. Oh well. But anyway, sometimes I put pictures up and then he hurries up and makes some pictures, and then he sends them to me. He goes, "What do you think?" And they look pretty good. He does a pretty good job. The high color is just a little bit nicer, but it looks really nice. I don't think I have any here from him.
Yeah, the Coco VGA ones, they're a bit coarser res, so you have to stand away from the water a little bit.
Yeah.
But at a distance, because it has a lot of color, they actually look pretty good, just not up close.
They do. So that's about it, guys. You get a chance, check out stuff on my page. What's cool to do sometimes, if you ever get a chance, is go to this media and you pick something you're interested in. And this goes back with all the pictures I've ever taken and stuff. And if you find something neat that you'd like to have for yours, you can click on it. And in the file section, there's some of these pictures. Okay, that's it. Thank you very much.
Before we get into Mikey, et cetera, I just want to mention one thing from the chat here. Tim Gilbert said, "Still good news today is I found another Dragon tape with more of the Quill Adventure interpreter for the 6809 code on it, the source code." So I know he's been trying to recreate that, and Tim was, of course, a guest on one of our big Dragon specials back in the day. So cool that he's finding some of the original Dragon source. Maybe both can get fully source code again. Anyway, on to the next.
Did we take up enough time for Mikey?
Ron, did you create any new Facebook groups this week?
No, just the other week I did the
floppy disk one.
The art of floppy disks, and before that, or at the same time, I made one for printers, TRS-80 printers.
And what's
So
next week's weather going to be like, Ron?
Just a minute now. Where are you?
Dry.
So, Mikey, are you still in line, or are you in the room yet?
Oh yeah,
He's still in the toilet line.
I'm still in line.
Oh, you
But,
barely moved.
Yeah, I barely moved. I don't
Did you
know.
make any new friends?
Yeah, I was talking to the guy next to me.
Yeah.
Do you guys mind if I share something that's Coco adjacent, that still in the Motorola family?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so let me. Okay. See if this works. Oh. Can you guys see
your
my
screen? Yeah,
I'm
we can see your screen. Yeah.
I'm actually sharing a document here. So I'm still working on the video for this, but I'm giving you guys a little sneak peek. About a month ago, I was searching on archive.org and the web. I think I was looking for CPM for 6800 or 6809, and I ran into this book, CP68, an M6800 operating system. And so there's a story here. And so what this is this is a book that was published by these guys, Jack Hemley and Robert Grapple. They published in Byte magazine in around 1977, 1978. And they actually wrote this operating system. If you read the note here, I'm actually moving. Where's the note? Yeah, here. CP68 is a floppy disk operating system, blah, blah, blah. They use this for a programming course. If I scroll a lot more, they published the entire source code for the operating system in this book. I have to get down to about a page 100 something here.
Is it multitasking?
Well, you're talking about a Motorola 6800. So you're running at like 1 megahertz, and you're less powerful than 6809. You don't have 16-bit registers. You only have one X register, which is 16 bits, which is not fully functional. So it would be quite a trick to convince this CPU to do multiple users and things.
Okay.
I guess you could do it. So I'm working. I found this book a month ago, and then a couple of days ago, I found somebody actually a guy named Robert Sancho Villa, I think is his name. He's working on. This is not really loading that fast. Sorry. He actually a group of people OCR'd the code out of this book, assembled it. Did all the corrections, assembled it, compiled the disk image, and it actually boots on real hardware, and I have it booting on MAME. So this is going to be something that's going to come from me in the future. That I'm still working on. So what do you guys think?
Cool. It'd be kind of like going back into Flex and stuff on the 6800 too. Then.
Yep. Very much.
All right. Well, how much more show do you think we have? Because
not a ton. So I don't know if we're going to make it by the time you get to the room. But record some stuff in the room. If it looks interesting, we can put it on next week's show.
You got a $50
sure.
bill you get yourself up there with?
Yeah.
You have to start passing that around as you walk up the line.
Yeah.
Pass out 20s as you move up the line.
There you go.
This and more on This Week in Stalling for Time.
Yeah, I know.
We're watching your progress so far. I don't think we'll stall until you're in there.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But yeah, record anything really interesting there, and then we can show it on next week's show.
Yeah, I'll get my headset, my other headset, before I do that, so the audio is a little better. But yeah, just one short question. What do you guys think about my my MAME videos? Are they too boring? Do I need to work on my delivery?
Keep on keeping on. I'd say.
I like the fact you're picking like the more obscure older systems too, that a lot of people haven't even heard of, and you're kind of the ancestors of even the Coco, because you've been doing some 6800 stuff. So I like them.
Good.
Yeah. Besides Adrian's Digital Basement, one of the other things that inspired me to start making those videos is if you search around for random, that MAME can emulate hundreds of different kinds of computers, and people make videos of bringing them all up, and they just type like random gobbledygook on the keyboard. They don't actually try to run them. They don't try to boot them. They don't try to do anything interesting with any of those computers. And I'm so I am, trust me, I am working my way up to some OS 9 and some other things on 6809. But I'm trying to do more work and more research.
So
but,
are you gonna wind up doing a GUI on the 6800 then?
Apparently there's a demonstration of some kind of a flight simulator
On the 6800?
Yes.
Wow.
I have not actually tried to run this. I have the setup to do it. Maybe I'll try doing that. I don't know if I can get it to run in the main emulation. I may have to use SimH, but I'll try that. If I can get that working, I'll make a video about it. How's that sound?
Are graphics screens on the 6800 similar to the Coco?
Well, it was a very different time back then. Basically, in this particular case, it's a terminal which can do some like block graphics. Maybe somebody was using a 6800 CPU and they have a board or a pile of circuit boards or something that that generate video output. There may have been some commercial. I think there were a couple of commercial video kits. I don't know that work in SWTPC, maybe like gimmicks or something somewhere around there. I remember reading something about some video boards that were available for these computers, but it's not like, if you had bitmap graphics, they were going to be pretty slow. So this is actually like block graphics, something similar to semi-graphics inside of a data terminal that has like something similar to a semi-graphic mode, something like that. That's how they did this. I'll try to get that running.
Right, because you couldn't afford RAM for bitmap graphics anyway back then. Nobody had the RAM for that. So yeah, serial terminal.
Right, you had like 1 or 2K of static RAM or something inside of the terminal, just enough to hold 1 or 2 pages of data.
So this shows how advanced the MC10 was compared to that.
Oh yeah. VDG was later, right? I don't remember the exact timing of VDG.
Curtis said it was 677.
Yeah, probably, yeah, because they did the whole chipset. Of course, 6809 was 79, so they did the design in 78 and released the chip in 79. So,
okay.
When the Coco came out, 6809 was still pretty new, only about 1 year old. All right. Well, I don't think we're going to do that much more stalling. I'll wait in the line at least until the show is over, and then probably after this, Deke wants to talk. Not Deke. Stick. I ran into a Stick Gap. He's here, and he wants to talk networking. So
is this open?
As he should.
Exactly.
Sorry, Ron.
Is this open till Sunday?
It is, but I'm not planning to go tomorrow.
Yeah.
I only got a permission slip for today.
Are you going to post some pictures on the Coco Facebook group of the Coco stuff there?
I can certainly go back and do that. It would help if I'm not on YouTube or Zoom.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, I want to take some pictures and take some Coco pictures and some non-Coco pictures and share them with a couple of people.
Maybe Donaghy's Coco VGA thing too. That would be cool.
Oh yeah, he's there, and his daughter is with him, of course. So.
Okay. Does anybody else have any other updates that they wanted to talk about? Or actually, I thought somebody else had mentioned something too, but I can't remember who it was. Was it Rick maybe? Or?
No, I've just been soldering all week.
Oh, okay. Or Nick Morennes, do you have an update on your game or anything? Or
nothing really to report. No.
Okay. Anybody else? Going once, going twice. Okay.
Okay. Ready for the outro?
I think so.
This concludes another episode of CoCoTALK, the world's leading live talk show featuring the Tandy Color computer, MC10, and Dragon systems. For all things CoCoTALK, visit us on the web at cocotalk.live. We'd love to hear from you. Send feedback, suggestions, even segments via email to cocotalk@cocotalk.live. Consider supporting the show with a purchase of merchandise from our retro swag shop at 8bit256.com. If you'd like to become a patron of the show, click on the Patreon link on our website, cocotalk.live. CoCoTALK would not exist without the community, its cast, crew, and contributors. Thanks go to Alan Murphy, Amigos Retro Gaming, Bill Noble, Brian Joyce, Brian Weaver, Curtis Boyle, D. Bruce Moore, Danny O'Connor, David Ladd, Eric Canales, George Jansen, Grant Leedy, James Diffendapper, Jason Reichert, Jim Brain, Ken Reichert, Ken Waters, Mark Bosley, Mark Overholzer, Mikey Furman, Mr. Dave 6309, Nick Marentes, Nick Marotta, Nick Marotta, Nick Marotta, Paul Fiscarelli, Richard Lorbieski, Rick Adams, Rick Hewlin, Rob Inman, Ron Delvaux, Samuel Gimes, Sloopy Malibu, Steve Bjork, Terry Steggy, Tom C., and many, many more. Please help support the Coco community. A list of various contributors and resources are available at imacoconut.com. That's imacoconut.com. The original CoCoTALK theme song is copyright 2008 by D. Bruce Moore and Greg Sheeler. The new CoCoTALK theme song is copyright 2020 by D. Bruce Moore. Both are mixed, mastered, and produced by D. Bruce Moore. Coco forever!
And we're back. Any closer?
So, I was somebody. I can't really read the chat very well. Do you guys think the question was about my YouTube channel?
I
would say so.
And it looks like David Ladd's replied.
Okay, I also posted. If Marco or somebody wants to paste it in the chat on Discord, I pasted the link to my channel. It's just Mikey N6IL. And
David Ladd posted it.
Oh, thank you, David. So, yeah. And, sometimes I do Coco stuff, sometimes I do other stuff, but it's all geeky and fun.
And retro.
At least for me. And retro, right.
Thanks for showing us all that stuff.
Yeah, it looks like a good show this year. It's definitely bigger than the last time you guys showed it.
Bigger, much bigger.
Yeah, it's bigger than last time, especially if you have to wait over, like an hour to get inside the silly consignment room. I mean, geez.
Well, is there just a limited amount of people they can have in the room at one time?
Yeah, apparently the other room that I showed you guys is one person's collection that they're actually selling. And the official consignment is in, I don't know why they did it this way. The official consignment is in this back room. And I think it's a relatively small space.
Maybe they did it so you could back your pickup truck to the back door and load the stuff in that you bought.
That's actually not. That might actually be true. Where this consignment room is right
It's on the second
next
floor, though.
to the back loading dock elevator, the back elevator. Mark, you remember where we loaded our stuff last time through the back?
Yep, I do
There's
remember.
apparently a room in the back right next to the elevator, and that's where this consignment area is. So
That makes sense.
Okay.
all right, well, sounds like show's ending, and I'm gonna leave this line and go find a stick.
Okay.
That's the deal. Enjoy.
Hey, well, thanks again for the live report there, Mikey.
Make sure they know that they were famous for a short time on our show.
You guys have to remind me. I need to go back to the Coco people and remind them about CoCoTALK.
Right.
So,
Yes,
let me dig up a link for that to.
Yeah,
send
see if they
them.
can join the Discord too, because then we can actually talk to them and maybe arrange an interview.
Do we still have a Discord invite somewhere?
Yeah, discord.cocotalk.live.
Oh, that's easy. All right.
It is.
I'll try to send that information.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Mikey.
And
All right.
next week's guest is who again?
Glenn Dahlgren with his new book, and then a little bit of Coco stuff as well.
All right. And Food Wars, the game of the week.
Yep. Also, don't forget to get your question in for our off-air interview with Michael Duncan, the author of Xeneon. Get those in by May 19th. Or some May 19th. August 19th.
Of what year?
August 19th.
So it'll
I'm
be
thinking Coco Fest from last year, May. Sorry.
Sundog Saturday. Coming up.
Yeah.
Okay. All right then. Bye.
Goodbye, everyone.
See you all next week.
Bye bye.
Sayonara.
Bye bye, everyone.
Good.